Okay, let's start. So, hi guys, we are back with that second session, and yeah, so we are starting off with a spreadsheet question, and let's see how we can do this, right? Question number six. The given segment of the spreadsheet shows the information about the important goods and their prices of a company that imports building material during the year 2023. The rupee value of a US dollar is given in cell C8. Let's check. Why do you have why here? There we are. Okay. They just told you what this spreadsheet is about. Nothing big. Normally, when you get a spreadsheet question, do this the first thing. As the first thing, what you have to do is go through all the columns, go through all the rows, and see what are the datas the spreadsheet has. Like for example, if I go through this spreadsheet, I can see right. What do you call? We have, let's say, yeah, I can say we have in this column every column. What do you call this ones? In that column, we have all the product names. Okay. Then I can tell in this column we have all the quantities. In this column we have all the price. In this column we have all the price. So there is some difference between these two price. That is, this is talking about the unit price. That means price per product, and it's talking about the total price. Okay, where can I get the paper? The paper is there in the channel. This is actually this part is was supposed to be done in the previous session. Okay, I'll just share both the links. Give me a moment. I'll share both the links. This is the session one's paper for your information. Currently, we're in session one paper, okay? We're still in session one paper. Anyways, all can see here that this has a price of every item and this is total price. That means if one tile is $7, that means 200 tiles will be 200 into 7. And that's what's mentioned here. And here we have, in this column, we have all the price in, you can see rupees, okay? And then here you can see they have mentioned how much is $1 equal to. And here this is mentioning about the total we have spent uh, in all this scenario. That is, I think this is talking about importing goods for a company. Okay, in a company that imports building materials, we're talking about that company. So what you should do in a spreadsheet question is just run randomly, just roughly. You don't have to buy heart everything, whatever. Just go through the spreadsheet and see what does every column contain, what does every row contain. A rough idea if you have, you're good to go. Now let's answer questions based on that. The question is saying, write the answers for the following questions using the spreadsheet segment given above. The formula written in one cell should be used to the other cells to get the values of them. Fine. Is it grade 10 paper? Yes, but this is relevant to grade 10 and 11, this session. So, what do you call, this is a continuation of the previous session. I told you the first session is only grade, so first session is 10 and 11, second session only 11. But then there was a small delay in the first session. So, what do you call for the first 1 hour, both grade 10 and 11 both will be there. So yeah, this question was there in the first PDF, PDF 1. You all were supposed to join that session. Some of the grade 11s did not join. You'll have to improve your communication skills. I mean, understanding English skills. I told you the first session is both grade 10 and 11. Yeah, I already told that in the question. Didn't you join the session one? If you join the session, I already told that. Answer that question. Anyways, what do you call? Write in the formula to get the total amount in US dollars in cell D3. Okay, so they are saying what should be the formula in the D3 cell. So let's go for the D3 cell. So this is the D3. And they're asking what should be the formula in D3 to find the total price. Now tell me, if you have not gone through the whole spreadsheet, will you be able to understand how to answer that question? Drop your answer in the main chat here. Tell me if you have not gone through the whole spreadsheet, Will you be able to answer that question? No. You can't answer that question. That is why I said in a spreadsheet question, first thing do is understand what is the data presented. What are the data we have? You can understand the data. Then you start writing the answers. Okay. So as per this question, if you see the column D3, that sorry, column D is talking about total price, right? So practically, if you go through the whole scenario, you can see D3 is talking about the total price. Fine. Total price of whom? Total price of a tile. If you like go to the spreadsheet properly, you can see D3 is talking about total price, fine. But total price of whom? Total price of the tile, right? And if you nicely go to the spreadsheet, you can see that whole column, we're talking about tile, fine. And you can see we have about 200 tiles, and you can see $7 is mentioned for one tile. So practically, you can guess this. No, this is assumption. Huh? This is like guessing. We recall this is basically a practical and logical assumption. It's a fair assumption as well. Okay, so we are assuming that okay, obviously, if one tile is $7, and if this bugger has about 200 tiles, that means we can obtain his answer 1400 by doing what and what to these two numbers, adding or multiplying or dividing. Or what are we going to do for these two numbers? Exactly. See, 7 times 2 is 1004. 7 times 200 is how much? 1400. So then we can figure out the answer. Ah, okay, maybe that D3 was obtained by these two. But did the question tell you that you can find the answer for the total price by multiplying the quantity by unit price? Has the question mentioned this as a data? Has the question told? No. So keep in mind, in question papers, they will not always feed you stuffs. So you have to make sure you go through the spreadsheet and understand these stuff. So these are basics, okay? So now I want to find out the total price there using cell addresses. Okay, I'm going to write a formula there using cell address. Now I told you we're going to multiply those two values. No, look at the spreadsheet and tell me what is the cell address of the cell containing the quantity, the number of tiles purchased. Now we are finding the answer for 1400. How 1400 was obtained, right? Respective to the 1400, which is regarding tiles, then the quantities of tiles is mentioned with cell address. Exactly. B3 cell. So it's then column B, row number 3. That means then B3 cell address. And then what is the cell address that has a unit price of a tile? Perfect. That's then C3 cell address. So my answer for that question would be equals B3 into C3. I'm multiplying the price of one tile into the unit price. These are answer that first question. Is that clear all of you? If you'll have any questions, drop in the chat. I'm checking the chat. I'm checking each and every messages. So if you'll have any doubts regarding this, message in the chat. Okay. Next, can we put brackets? If you want, you can. Not compulsory. Not needed even. If the formula in D3 is copied to the cell range D4 to D6, that means they're saying the formula I have highlighted yellow color is there, right? The question is saying we're going to copy it. And we're going to paste it to the cell range D4 to D6. Now, cell range means a collection of cells. Huh? That's what a cell range means. Yes, Faham. So we're going to copy it to D4 to D6. So this is D4, D5, and D6. This is the cell range D4 to D6. Okay. Again, cell range means a collection of cells. Huh? Can we write equals sum B3 comma C3? What does sum function do? Sum is used for addition. Are we doing addition here? Are we adding 207? No. So only if it's addition, you can use sum, not for multiplication. So that's wrong. Okay. So they are saying if you I have written a formula in highlighted a formula in yellow color, right? So they are saying if that is copied to the cell range D4 to D6, which means the pink color cell range which is copying, they are saying write the formula that will appear in D6. Okay. They're asking what will be there here. Now, based on that question, I'm going to ask you some data. As per that question, let me write here the answer first of all. Question number 6, right? 6.2. As per that question, we copied the formula from which cell address? As per Roman number 2, we copy the formula from which cell address? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Exactly. We are copying the formula from what you call D3 cell. Perfect. The formula we copy from D3 cell, we are going to paste it onto which cell? I mean, no, we are pasting it for cell range. Okay, we are pasting it for the cell range. Out of this cell range, we are going to find somewhere it's pasted, right? We are going to find it was pasted where. Sorry, we are going to find the formula that was pasted where. In this question, we are going to find the formula. They're saying write the formula that will appear, right? We are going to find the formula of where. Yes, as per this question, they're saying we're going to find the formula that was pasted. Okay, find the formula that was pasted in the D6 cell. We are copying from D3. Okay, and we are going to find the formula that was pasted onto D6. Up to here, is it clear what has happened? Up to here, are you all clear what does this mean? Yes, Salman. Okay, for those who did not understand, I'll again tell you. In this question number 2, they're telling that we are copying a formula, right? They're saying if the formula in D3 is copied, so that means we're copying the formula which was written on D3. And we are going to paste it to the cell. We are copied to the cell range. That means copied to means we are going to copy it and paste it to the cell range D4, D6. When you say cell range means a collection of cells. So what they are meaning by that is they're going to copy the formula that was in yellow color highlighted one formula, right? We are going to copy the formula that was there in that cell and paste that formula into all these pink color highlighted cells. That is what they have mentioned. Is that part clear? What had happened? What has happened in that question? What have they done? That first line, is that part clear? Perfect. And next they're asking, okay, and next they're asking, after that is done, what will be in the formula in D6 cell? So that means we are supposed to find, okay, we pasted in 3 cells. Out of the 3 cells we pasted, what will be the formula in this D3 cell? That is what we are supposed to find. So we are supposed to find, in simply saying, we are supposed to find what was the formula pasted into D6 cell, right? So we copied the formula from D4, D3 cell, and we are going to find what was the formula pasted onto D6 cell. Clear? If you have any questions, drop in the chat now. Now tell me, in the Roman number 2, okay, in the Roman number 2, have they mentioned what is the formula that was copied? The formula, is that formula mentioned in Roman number 2? No. Is the formula visible on the spreadsheet picture given there? Again, no. The formula that was copied, it is not there in the spreadsheet as well. It is not there in the picture as well. It is not there in the Roman number 2 as well. But in this question, somewhere is it available? Somewhere else is it available? Yes. If you nicely look at the question properly, in the Roman number 2, so Roman number 1, we wrote a formula, right? That formula we wrote in the Roman number 1, we wrote that formula itself onto the D3 cell. So that means, based on that, tell me, what is the formula we are going to copy? What is the formula that is getting copied? What are we going to copy? Equals what? What is the formula? Equals? Correct. The formula that is being copied is equals B3 into C3. Exactly. Equals B3 into C3. Equals B3 into C3. So we are going to figure out If you copy this formula from here and paste it here, what will be the formula here? That is what we are going to figure out. First of all, tell me, are you clear of what is happening? Because without knowing the problem, you can't figure out the solution. So first of all, make sure you're clear the problem. Perfect. Now let's find out the solution. Okay. So to do this question, can you explain once more? I didn't still explain the answer. I was explaining the question. So I'll explain it simply now. In the question, what they have said was they copied a formula and they pasted that formula to multiple cells. Okay. And after that, they're asking, okay, after we are done pasting, what will be the formula here? Clear. There was a formula here. We copied this. We pasted it to all three cells. After we paste to all three cells, what will be the formula here? Perfect. Yes, Ibrahim. Now, based on this, let's answer the question. To do this question, there's a two-step process you have to follow. Step number one, see how can we go, okay, from the copying cell to the pasting cell, right? So, okay, step number one is how to go from copying cell to pasting cell. How to go from copying cell to pasting cell. So, as per the question, what was the copying cell's address? I have written here the data as well. What is the copying cell's address? Copying cell's address, man. This is called address. This is called formula. Don't you all know the difference between the formula and address? Copying cell's address is D3. What is the pasting cell's address? D6. So we're going to find out how to go from D3 to D6. Okay. Normally, we're not going to find out the change. There could be two possible change. One is there could be a change in column. Another thing is there could be a change in row. Okay. The change in column, the change in column name, we consider this as a horizontal change. Sorry. Yeah, horizontal change. And then there could be another possible change, that is change in row. If there is a change in row, we call this as a vertical change. Right. So now based on that, tell me, okay, just keep that aside. Okay, that if you didn't understand that point, that's fine. I'll come to that later. But tell me, when you compare both these cell addresses, is there a change in column between the copying cell and pasting cell? No. Is there a change in row? Yes. There's a vertical change. Normally, when you say vertical change, we are talking about, are we going up or are we going down? Horizontal change, are we going right or are we going left? Something like that. So now here there is a change, right? So from row number 3, if you're going to go to row number 6, are you going up or are you going down in a spreadsheet? So this is how a spreadsheet looks like, no? From row number 3, if you want to go to row number 6, okay, from row number 3, you go to row number 6. Are we going up or are we going down? Perfect. We're going to go down. So to go from row number 3 to row number 6, we're going to go down. Now, for example, imagine these as cells value. Now, if I'm going to go from here to here, I'm going one cell down. If I'm going to go to here, two cells down, something like that, no? Similarly, to go from row number 3 to row number 6, how many cells are to go down? Moad, this is why I'm saying, why didn't you join the class yesterday, Moad? Exactly. To go from row number 3 to row number 6, so to go three cells down, right? For example, this is 3. To go from 3 to 6, okay, ergo, this is one cell down, this is another cell down, and the another cell down. So total, I'm going to go three cells down. Okay, from here to here, one step, from here to here, another step, from here to another step. So I'm going three cells down, right? Now this data I'm going to mention there. Okay, again, if you want here, one, this is D3. If you're wondering what is D3, this is D6. To go from D3 to D6, this is one cell down, two cells down, Three cells down. I'm going three cells down. Okay, I'm going three cells down. So first step I was going, what I did is I was figuring out how to go from the copying cell to pasting cell. So to go from the copying cell to pasting cell, there is no horizontal change. Horizontal change mukutut nahi. In terms of vertical change, I'm going three cells down. So this is how you can go from the copying cell to the pasting cell. Is this part clear? Finding how to go from copying cell to pasting cell. Perfect. Now we're going to go for step two. Step two is basically apply the change to each and every cell address in the formula copied. So apply the change to each cell address in the formula copied. So as per this question, the formula we copied was what equals B3 into C3. Okay. The formula we copied was equals B3 into C3. Now in this formula we copied, how many cell addresses are visible? Correct. There are two cell addresses visible. B3 is one cell address, C3 is another cell address. So we are going to apply this change respectively one after the other. Okay. Nothing big shine. Now, one after the other, I'm going to say we're going to apply the change. Now there is no horizontal change, so we can ignore this part. There's nothing to do here. But here you can see there's a vertical change. We're going three cells down, right? So from B3 cell, if you go three cells down, what is the cell we have? From B3, go three cells down. What cell will we reach? 3 to 4 is one cell down. 4 to 5 is another cell. 5 to 6 is another cell. So you go three cells down, you will reach the B6 cell. Similarly, tell me from C3 cell, if you go three cells down, what is the cell we will reach? C6 cell. So therefore, in the pasting cell, the formula we'll be having is B6 into C6. Is this clear, all of y'all? So imagine this, what you called cell addresses like the children that are going with the parents. So when the parents go somewhere, children also will follow and go, right? So if the formula, if the cell is going one cell down, cell address also will go one cell down, something like that. So the answer there is going to be equals B6 into C6. If you have any doubts, drop in the chat. Huh? B6 into C6, sorry. Next, write a formula in cell E3 to get the total price in rupees. E3 is here. To get the total price in rupees. Now, if you look at the cell D3, the cell which I highlighted in yellow color, there the total price is there in which unit? Perfect. They are the total price there in dollars. The next column, they have mentioned the unit. Sorry, the next column, they have mentioned in rupees. Now, to convert from dollars to rupees, we need to know the conversion rate. How much is $1 equal to in rupees? Or how much is 1 rupee equal to in dollars? Okay, either one of the conversion we should know. In this spreadsheet, is is that converting value given anywhere? They can ask Mushta, but they will never ask. If they ask, there is no change, right? So there's no change. Like there's no vertical change, there's no horizontal change there. So formula also doesn't change. Correct. You can see here in the D8 cell, they have mentioned the value of $1 in rupees. Okay, how much is $1 equals in rupees? They have mentioned there, right? So based on that, let's do the conversion. Now, practically tell me, here they have mentioned rupees 112, right? That 112 is the price of how many dollars? Correct. They have mentioned US dollar value. That means they are talking here the price of $1. I think $1 is 112 rupees, right? So if $1 is 120 rupees, no, Rafa, the formula, that formula only all the, that formula only all the chain has to be applied. Exactly, $1. So now when you want to find the value of what you call, if $1 is 1,200, say if $1 is 112, then if you want to find the value of $1,400, okay, so $1 is 112. So if you want to find the value of $1,400, what do you have to do? Now this is a maths question, not IT. Exactly. So here you have to know the knowledge about proportions. Okay. If you don't know maths, this is going to be difficult. So if $1 is going to be 1,400, so $1 is going to be 112, you have to find out what is $1,400. So how do you get that 1,400 into 112? That's the answer, no? That's the answer how you get. So 1,400 is there in the D3 cell. So I can mention here, for example, equals D3, right? And I have to multiply the 1,400 by the price of $1, no? That is then which cell? Which cell has a price of $1? Correct. $1 has a price in the C8 cell. Now, there is a problem here. Okay, there is a problem here. Before I come to the problem, tell me if you multiply D3 into C8, which means if you multiply 1,400 into 112, will we get that? Did I tell you that's the final answer? Did I tell you D3 into C8 is the final answer? No, no, Poruma, wait. Okay. Now tell me, what do you call when you multiply D3 into C8, will you get 156,800? When you multiply the value in D3 with D8, will we get 156,800? Yes, you don't have to check mathematically, but if you multiply and see, that's the answer you'll be getting. There won't be any issues there. But you know where the problem is? The problem is, if you read this description mentioned a bit ahead, they have told you that the formula written in one cell should be used to the other cells to get the values of them as well. This is an important data they have mentioned, right? So what they're meaning by that is if I write in the E3 cell to find the total price. Now in the E3 cell, I'll be writing the formula in the E3. If I'm writing a formula in the E3 cell, I'll write a formula there to find the total price of which product in rupees. What is the name of the product I'll be finding here? Correct. Look at the spreadsheet properly, you can see in that E3 cell, I'll be actually writing a formula to find the price of a tile. So what will happen here is in when I'm what you call creating the spreadsheet, the same formula right here, I'll be copying it for the remaining cells as well. Okay, I'll be copying that to the remaining cells as well. Now, when I copy a formula to multiple cells, so when you copy a formula and paste it onto another cell, any formula, will it be exactly the same? The copying formula and the pasting formula, will it be exactly the same? No, it will differ. Normally, if you take a formula, listen to this properly. Yeah? Normally, if you take a formula, sorry, within a formula, you can include always a formula will start with the equal symbol, but leaving that aside, within a formula, you can include numbers. Within a formula, you can include these symbols, right? Addition, multiplication, subtraction. Normally, we call them as arithmetic operators. Huh? And within a formula, you can include cell addresses, right? The previous question, all we wrote a formula using cell address. And within a formula, you can include functions as well. I'll discuss functions in the next question, right? Out of these, tell me, when you copy a formula from one cell and paste it to another cell, will everything, let's say a formula has numbers, arithmetic operators, all of them change. Like for example, let's say we have a formula this 23 into A5 divide by sum A1 to A3. You can have a formula like this. So this is a correct formula. Now in this formula, I have used a number. I have used an arithmetic operator. I have used a cell address. And I have used here function. Now in this function, there is a cell range. Okay, but again in this cell range also these two are cell addresses. No, these two are different, two different cell addresses. So tell me, out of all these components we have in this function, all of all these whole things we have in the formula, what are the things that will change? Numbers will change, the operators will change, the cell address will change, the function will change. Exactly, what are the things that will change when I copy this formula from one cell and paste it onto another cell? What are the things that will get changed? Correct. Cell addresses change. Is it only cell address change? Actually, yes. Numbers doesn't change. Cell addresses only change. Only cell addresses changes. Nothing else change. So for example, if I have a formula here saying equals 5 times 3, okay. See, if I have equals 5 times 3, I copy this from here. I go and paste it here. See, here also it's 5 times 3. Here also it's 5 times 3. If you want to see, I can show it to you all. Show formulas. See, both the cells has 5 times 3. Copying cell also 5 times 3, pasting cell also 5 times 3. Okay. But if I copy, for example, let's say, if I write 3 times A5, so 3 times, let's say G2, okay. If I copy this formula from here and paste it here, see, I copy it from here, I paste it here, numbers didn't change. But what got changed? Only the cell address. We call it a cell address. Only the cell address got changed. Right? So what we do is normally in questions, what do you call? Uh, you can now in this kind of a question, for example, in this question, if you notice in this question, let's say I copied that formula I wrote for tile. I wrote here to find that what you call total price of tiles in rupees. No, if I copy that formula from there, the green color formula, and if I go and paste it, let's say here to this red color place, okay. If I go and paste it there, for example, the formula I copied, let's say I copied D3 into C8, huh? Right? Let's say we wrote here D3 into C8. Okay, let's say we copy this formula called D3 into C8. Let's say I copied it from here. Okay, let's say I copied it from here. And I'm going to paste it. The green color place, I copied it from the green color place, and I'm going to go and paste it to the red color place. Right? Now, when I do that process, okay, when I do that process, you can see here, we are going 1, 2, 3 cells down. There's only one change. The only change is going 3 cells down now. So from the copying cell to the pasting cell, if you go 3 cells down, you know even the cell address in the formulas go 3 cells down. So D3 will become D6, C8 will become 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, C11. Okay. Now tell me, in this formula, we are having C6 into, so D6 into C11. To calculate the bathroom doors price in rupees, Okay, to calculate the bathroom doors price in rupees, if we have D6 here, is this D6 correct? Is D6 being there correct? Yes, because that's the price of the bathroom door in dollars. Is C11 being there here correct? No. Instead of C11, the price of the bathroom door, we will multiply this by which sales value? Correct. Instead of C11, we should have multiplied that by C8. So that means we're now going to copy the formula for the remaining items. That is tile, bathroom set, tap, bathroom door. We're now copying it for the remaining items. Okay. The total price changing was not a problem. But the dollar value changing, it was actually a problem for us. The total price changing was not a problem. But dollar value changing, that is a problem. So we want to make sure that doesn't change, right? Normally, when you copy it for the remaining products, when I the formula I wrote for tile, when I copy it for the remaining products, okay, when I copy it for the remaining products, what is getting changed? Is the column name getting changed or row number getting changed? Like to be more precise, when I copy the formula I wrote for tiles, when I copied it for the bathroom set, tap, and bathroom door, what got changed? The row number. So I want the row number not to change. Basically, originally it was C8. After I pasted, it became C11. I don't want that 8 to become 11. I want the 8 to be constant. So if you want to stop something from changing, copy pasting formula, if you want something from want to stop something from changing, that is where we use a dollar symbol. So dollar symbol is representing something called as absolute cell referencing. Okay. So if you want this 8 not to change, then what you do is you add the dollar in front of it. So if you put C$8, now when you copy paste the formula, the 8 will not change to anything else. Is that clear, all of you all? So the correct formula for that question is D3 into C8. What if I use both row and column in this case? Not a problem. That's extra protection. If you can put that as well. If you write the answer as equals D3 into $C$8, that's also correct. But is this $C necessary? Is it like compulsory you need this dollar here? No. So basically, we use a dollar symbol if you want to stop something from changing. Okay. Mariam, did you understand the point that when you copy formulas from one cell to another cell, the cell address change? That part is it clear? Perfect. And did you understand how does it change? That means if you go one cell down, cell address also will go one cell down. If you go one cell right, that was clear. Perfect. Sometimes this is a problem for us. That changing is sometimes a problem for us. Like for example, if I tell you, okay, for example, if I tell you that the price of gold, you all know gold, right? Let's say the price of this gold is, I'm saying not, let's say 24 karat gold. Now you have in gold, you have two types of 24 and 24 karat. So let's say I'm going to write, I have a spreadsheet like this, 22 karat gold and 24 karat gold. And let's say I'm going to go and write here the price of both these gold a couple of days back. Okay. So for example, let's say if you take the price of 22 karat gold, let's say for example, on Friday. What is Friday's date? 17th? Ne? So on 21st. On 21st, it was 303,600. And 24 karat gold was actually 330,000. Okay. This is the price on 21st. So let's say on 21st, what there was a person. Okay. Okay. Let's say there's a person called Rizlan. Okay. So what this person called Rizlan did was, now don't go and tell him this. What this fellow did is he went to a jewelry shop and he bought gold. Okay. So let's say he bought I'm going to mention, let's say what he does is every time he buy golds, he goes and records it. He records the date he bought the gold. He records the number of grams he bought. Okay, so here I have mentioned the grams for 8 grams gold. Huh? In the price I have mentioned here is, let's say, 8 grams gold price. Example. Okay. So what do you call yeah. Let's say he's going to mention the date he bought the gold and the number of grams he bought. And then let's say he is mentioning the amount, the buying price, the amount he bought the gold for. Right. 1 pound is 8 grams. That's why I wrote 8 grams here. Okay, basically 1 gram, this is 1 pound gold's price. Now let's say on 21st of November again, yeah, November. On 21st of November, this fellow went and bought, let's say, 8 grams gold. Okay. And let's say here I'm gonna mention, let's say, the price of 1 pound. Price of 1 pound. Or price of 8 grams. 1 pound is 8 grams, huh? Right? And then let's say he has bought, price of 8 grams is, I'm going to mention here, when he bought, okay, let's say when he bought the gold, the price of 8 grams was, let's say, 303,000. Let's say he bought, let's say we are going to deal with only one type, okay? To make our calculations easy, let's say we are going to deal with only 22 karat gold. So let's say he bought with 300,000, 303,600 here. What do you call he bought? Right? Oh, I don't need this. I'll directly make the work easy. Amount spent. So to buy 8 grams of gold, he has spent 300,000, 303,600. Now tell me, if he had bought 16 grams of gold, then what would have been the amount he spent? Correct. Twice the amount, which is actually 607,200. Okay. This is the amount he spent. Now, I don't know whether you all are aware of this or not, but you all should be aware. Normally, if you take price of gold with time, does it increase or decrease? It has fluctuation, but if you take a long run, normally it increase or decrease. It increases, it decreases. Recently, it went up to 400, this 330 I mentioned. It went till 420 for your information. Okay, it increases, it decreases. There are fluctuations. Now, if you take the value of gold today, okay, okay, it's still 300, 600. Wait, let me take the old price of gold. Wait, give me a moment. The price has not changed, so therefore I can't do this question. Let me get the value of gold couple of days back. Let's say he went and bought the gold on what's the date today? Today is 322 carat 8 grams, 24th. This price is wrong. This price is wrong. I'll take the old price. Wait, give me a moment. Command. It was okay on 15th of May. I'll take a price for you. The price on 15th of May. Let's say he bought this on 15th May. Yeah. On 15th May, the price of 1 pound gold was 240,150. Let me put this fill out of the chat. Remove. I have told you if I John's in the chat, I'll put you out of the class. Alas. Okay. So what do you call 8 grams of gold is 240,000, 150, right? When he bought on 15th May. But is this the price today? Actually, this is the price today, okay? Is that the price today? No, I told you today what is the price? What is the price I told today the price of gold is? 303,600. So let's say you want to figure out, okay, this amount you spent, but you want to figure out here, let's say, what is the current value of it? Because value can go up, value can go down. You want to find the current value of it. Now, let's say you have bought golds multiple days. Okay, now for example, this is for an example. No, I'll just mention it. Multiple days you have bought. So let's say you have bought in um, 8th, you bought, let's say, example, let's say you bought on April 1 random day. Let's say you bought in March random day. Let's say you bought. Okay. And let's say we had different values here. For example, let's say, let me take something like, let's say, yeah, let me just randomly take around 237 random. I'm just putting random values. 243. And let's say I'm going to put this 250,000. Example, I have done random values. Now, let's say you want to find out, okay, what is the current value of all these golds you all bought? You bought multiple times, you bought gold, what is the current value? Now, what you might do, you might take the value you have here in, let's say, how much value you bought, okay, and you might divide it by 8, okay. Actually, you don't have to divide by 8 as well, but you can divide by 8. And you have to multiply. I'll write the formula actually. It's basically the amount you spent, the number of grams you have, sorry, the current value of the gold divide by 8 into the amount you spent. Okay. Basically, the formula you use to find the current value. Okay. The current value, how you find is you basically see what is the price of 1 gram today, right? You go and see what is the price of 1 gram today and multiply it by the number of grams you bought, right? Now, if I copy this formula to the remaining cells, I just copy this formula for the remaining cells. Let me just copy it for the remaining cells. You can see the formula got changed, right? The formula got changed. Now, I told you the current value is equal to the amount of what do you call the current value of the gold is equal to the today's price divided by 8 into the number of grams you bought. Okay, number of grams bought. Right? Now, in this situation, when the cell address got changed, let's see, is it a problem for us or not? Okay, let's see, is the cell address changing? Is it a problem for us or not? Okay. Now, in B3 cell, okay, that was the formula I copied, sorry. If I go for the below one, let's say this, the last fellow, okay. In B6 cell, do I have the today's price? As per my formula, it's basically today's price divided by 8 into number of grams bought. No. In B11 cell, do I have the number of grams I bought? Yes. In B11 cell, yes, I have the number of grams bought. Okay. Now what happens is, if you look at the today's price, So the B11 changing. Is it B11, the B8 is where I have the number of grams I bought for this row, right? So when I copy the formula for the remaining rows, that B8 becoming B11, is that a problem for me? This B8 changed to B11, right? Was that a problem for me? No. But when I copy the formula from here to here, that B3 becoming B6, is that a problem for me? Yes. Because the today's price I have only in B3. I don't have in multiple rows. I don't know. So what happens is when I copy the formula and pasted, B3 became B6. Now this B3 becoming B6 is a problem for me. So I don't want this B3 to change. I want to stop this from changing. So when you want to stop something from changing, there are two things you can stop. You can stop the column name changing or you can stop the row number changing. To be precise, what do we want to stop changing here? Do you want the column name to stop changing or row number? What is the exact requirement? What is happening and you want to stop? Yes, the row number is changing. We want to stop the row number changing. So what I do is I add the dollar symbol in front of the row. First of all, I'll show you how the answer would be without adding that below. Now, if I don't add the dollar symbol, I'll show you how the answer would be. View, see, it's giving me the answer is 0. Now let me add the dollar symbol. B $3 I'll add the dollar symbol here. Now after I add the dollar symbol, now I'm going to copy the formula. See, now you can see B3 divided by 8. That's going to give the current value into 8. Into 8, yeah. See, currently it's saying these are value of the gold. Now, did I buy? No, even though currently all these golds are having the same price, when I was buying the gold, did all of them have the same price? No. So let's see how much the profit I made by this gold example, let's say. So I can say the profit is equal to this one minus this. So some golds I have made a large amount of profit. Sorry, you notice here. Let's say some gold I have made a large amount of profit. Certain transaction, the profit is less. Got it? Can the current value change? Obviously, current value can't change, right? Current value should be same. But if the value of this, if the number of grams is different, then yes, it'll change. Like for example, if I had mentioned here 16 grams, I bought for let's say this amount of rupees. Okay. When I was buying the gold 16 grams, I bought for 474. But the price of that today is 607,000. Example, I'm telling you. Okay. Why do we need the formula? To find the difference, profit made. Right. So in this situation, what's happening here is to make sure that I stop something from changing, I add the dollar symbol. But let's say I have something like this. For example, let's say I have term 1 marks, term 2 marks, and total marks. Okay, I'm going to show you the formula. So let's say I have here some random values 50, 80, 90. And in the term 2, let's say you got a marks of 59. Or let's say, yeah, these are like part term 1 and term 2 marks. Let's say I want to see the addition of your term 2 and term 1 marks. I might write a formula like this, no, equals this one plus this. Now, when I copy this formula for the remaining cell, so I copy this formula for the remaining cells below, it got changed. But here, it getting changed. Is it a problem for me? Nicely see. Is it a problem for me? No. Okay. Because here, if you notice, it's not a problem. Like I can show you if you want. View, freeze, sorry, show. Now, if you notice here, if you add these two, you're getting this. If you add these two, you're getting this. If you add these two, you're getting this. So here, it getting changed is not a problem. But let's say I want to show, let's say this was the names of students, Amal, Bimal, and Samal, right? So let's say I have their names here as well. I want the total marks to be visible here as well. If I copy this formula from here and if I paste it here, will the formula be the exact same? Yes or no? No. I'll do and show you. Okay, I'll do and show you. See, view, show. I'm going to show the formula. Okay, I'll copy it from here. I'll paste this, copy all this from here. I'm going to paste it here. See, are we getting the exact values? No. Actually, if I show, I will be getting error here. See, if I copy these three things from here, copy, and if I go and paste it here, see, I'm getting errors. Okay. So now in this situation, when I'm copy pasting a formula, if you notice here, has like when you compare, now you compare the cell address and see, you compare this fellow and sorry, compare this fellow and this fellow and see and tell me, the copying, no, I'm going to paste it to another column to make it more fun. Control X. Okay. So I'm going to copy the formula from here and I'm going to paste it here. Now you compare the copying formula and compare the pasting formula and tell me, when you compare the copying formula and pasting formula, has only this cell, has only the column name changed, only the row number changed, or both of them changed? Perfect. Both of them have changed. So now you want exactly B2 plus C2 to be here. You want exactly B2 plus C2 to be there, right? So in that case, in this situation, you want to block, what is your requirement? You want to block only B changing or only 2 changing, or you want to block both changing? You want to block both the changing. So in this situation, if you want to copy it from here to here, okay? Again, I'm saying from here to here. If your requirement is copy here and paste here. If that was your requirement, then what you would do is you would add dollar symbol for both. So now if I add dollar symbol for both, for example, let's say $B, $2. I'll just add for one cell address and show. Then it'll be you can differentiate now. I'll just add for one cell address and show you. So when I copy this formula from here now, copy, paste. Now you can see the first cell address did not change. Why? Because it had absolute cell reference. But second cell address got changed. So if you want both not to change, then I can add dollar symbol for both. If I add dollar symbol for both, now copy, paste, both hasn't changed. Make sense? So you add the dollar symbol depending on what your problem is. See, if you want to stop something from changing. So here in this situation, but I wanted both the column and row to change. When you want something not to change, you do that. So it depends on the problem. Only you figure out the solution. If without knowing the problem, you can't do the solution. Why didn't it go to F early? Meaning, now these two has an error because I have not still done the absolute cell referencing. Now, for example, if I do the absolute here, dollar, 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 and dollar. For the next fellow also, if I put dollar and dollar, now if I copy these three, and now if I paste, see, exactly it's copied. Nothing is changed. So you add the dollar symbol depending on the problem. If column name changing is a problem, you add the dollar symbol for the column name. If row number changing is a problem, you add the dollar symbol for the row number. If both are changing is a problem, you add the dollar symbol for both. So you add the dollar symbol depending on what you don't want to change. Is that clear? Got it? Perfect. Next. Why we use dollar symbol instead of using other symbols? For fun. There is no specific reason. Actually, there is one reason. That is because in your keyboard you have certain keys, right? In the top itself. Only dollar symbol doesn't have a meaning. Others all have a different meaning. Like the exclamation mark represent the idea of not, then percentage represent the idea of mod, and what do you call that arrowhead on top that represents exponential. So each of the other symbols have a meaning. In maths, that's the real reason. If you really want, but that's advanced. You don't have to know those. Roman number 4. Write the formula in cell C E8 to get the total price in. That's what you're doing by using functions, right? E8 to find. Okay, you E8 to find the total price using functions. So in spreadsheet, the functions you all learned are basically sum, min, max, average, count, and count A. These are functions you all learned in your syllabus. Okay, I'll explain the difference between these two in a while. But leaving these two aside, do any of you have a problem in these functions? If you're wondering the meaning of those functions, I'm lazy to rewrite again, so here you go. Okay. The sum function is used to add values together. Min is used to find the smallest value. Max is largest value. Average is average values. There's nothing big in that. If you have any questions regarding those four, let me know in the chat. Huh? Average is find the average values, like addition of values divided by the number of values you add. The cell F8 showed E8 earlier. The cell F8 showed E8 earlier, right? So why didn't it go to F and why did it stop from E? View, freeze, show, formula, didn't, didn't, copy, paste. What do you mean by E8? What is are you talking about this fellow? Copy, paste. You're talking about the second cell address E8. Were you dreaming all this time? These are cell we copied, right? These are cell we're pasting, right? Sorry. To go from the copying cell to the pasting cell, we're going to go how? One, two. Two cells towards the right. Then one, two, three, four, five, six. Six cells down. The same thing happens for the cell address, no? From C2 cell, okay? If you go two cells towards right, C2 to D2, D2 to E2. Cells down, E8. That's how the C6 is it. I don't know. First find how to go from copying cell to pasting cell. Then apply the change to all cell address. Clear? Hmm. Okay. So out of all the functions I told you now, tell me which function should you use to find the total price in rupees? Like to find the total addition of values. Correct. To find the addition of values, we use a sum function. So answer is going to be equal sum. And then the cell range we are going to add. So here we are going to add the cell range of E3 to E6. So answer is going to be equal sum E3 to E6, right? So keep it in mind, apart from sum, there are other functions as well, where min is used to find the smallest value, max is used to find the largest value, average and all the stuffs. Most of you mess up the count and count a function. I'll first of all ask you all a question and then I'll tell you the answer. Let's say for this cell range, for these collection of values, sorry, for these collection of values, if I apply the count function, what do you think the answer would be? Yes, Fahama. What do you think the count function will give me? Okay. Count function will count the number of cells that contains numbers only, right? So if you look at all these four cells, does this cell have numbers only or values only? Yes. Does this cell have values only? Yes. Does this cell have value? Value means numbers, huh? Like value means like numbers, dates, time, all those are values. Does this have a number only? Yes. Does it have a number only? Yes. Does this cell have a number only? No, it's empty. Does this cell have a number only? No, it has letters. So number of cells that has numbers only are basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So count function will give the answer as 4. Because count function is used to count the number of cells that contain numbers only. Is that part clear? Got it? Now similarly, we have another function called count A. Count A is used to count the number of cells that are not empty. Okay. Yes or no? That are not empty. So if you look at this cell range, how many cells are not empty? Correct. Not empty, not empty, not empty, not empty, not empty. So there are five cells that are not empty, right, in that cell range. The count A will give you five. So the difference between count and count A is count will count the number of cells that contains. Okay. So if I can show it to you if I want here. If I go and write here equals count for that cell range, you can see answer is 4 equals count A for that cell range. Answer is 5. View formula. See 4 and 5. Count is 4. Count A is 5. That's the difference. There's nothing else big. Next, write down the formula in cell B7 to get the highest number of important items by using functions. Okay. In B7, if I want to find the highest number of important items by using functions, first of all, to find the highest value in a cell range, what is the function we would use? No more. Watch yesterday's recording. The max function. In the max function, I have to find the what you call highest number of import items, right? So import items, the count. I want to find the highest count, right? So that cell that the count is there in which cell range? Correct. The quantities are there in this cell range, which is B3 to B6. So this is the answer for the max function equals max B3 to B6. Is that clear of you? If you have any questions, drop in the chat. By the way, I spent a bit of time in spreadsheet today. Okay, more than what has to be given. I spent it here. But spreadsheet is a more easy lesson and has more content. Okay, so if there's any one of y'all who don't know even the basic theories relevant to spreadsheet, because now I told y'all directly I went for question basis and based on questions I was answering y'all. But if there's anyone of y'all who is very weak at even the theoretical parts, yesterday I did this in the recap class. So I'll just give you all the recording. Actually, that's the thing I give only for my paid class students. I'll give it to you all. Okay. You can use it for yourself. But that has from scratch everything that is needed. Every Baba's questions also have answered there. So go and check that if you really want. Next. For instance, if a person attends only two subjects, absent. If attends only two subjects, absence out of three subjects, then finding average is that should be divided by two or three. Out of three, two they have attended, right? Fahma? Then divide by two. Okay, Hosni. Next, the database question. It's basically divided by the number of values you're adding. So can you add the word called AB? And if you're taking a calculator, the calculator cannot go and add AB. No. But can you add zero? Yes. So divide, add you the number of values you're adding, you divide by that. That's how you find the average. Is zero counted in count? Is zero a number? Can you enter zero in a calculator when you're adding values? Yes. So therefore, zero is also counted. It should be a number, man. As long as it's a number, it's correct. It should be a decimal number. Okay. The following is a part of a database used for school management at Samanapura Vidyalaya. It contains data on teachers and the subjects they teach. Which table is suitable to include the fields, appointment date, and retried date? What is appropriate data type for those fields? Okay, let's see. First of all, if you look at this scenario, there is a database about some school. Okay, schools, teachers, right? Yeah. Now, based on this, if you see, out of the three tables, first of all, tell me which table is suitable to include this field called appointment date. You all tell me first of all. I'll call this table one, table two, table three. Which table? I didn't still go through the table. You all just look at the table and you all tell me the answer. I didn't still go through. I don't know the answer. If you're wondering what do you mean by appointment date and retired, it should not be retired date. It should be retired date. Okay, it should be retired date. Retired. Appointment date means the day they joined as a teacher. The first day they joined as a teacher. Retired date is the day they are leaving their job as a teacher. Correct. Normally, that is the date, the day you join and the day you leave. That is a day. Is that something that's respective to a subject? Does it have any connection to Sinhala, English, Maths, or Buddhist? That appointment date? No. That's a day relevant to a teacher. The day a teacher joins as a teacher, and the day the teacher leaves and leaves the school. Okay, that's not a data relevant for the teacher. So I Shahim. At least you have to go through the date. I mean, it's not even relevant. Okay. So that's basically the day they join the teacher and left as a teacher now. Now, if you go, is it something relevant to the teacher underscore subject? No, because teacher underscore subject is talking about, okay, there's a teacher called T004, which means, for example, Danushika is teaching S01, which means Danushika is teaching Sinhala, okay, for grades 6 to 11 for 12 periods each, right? And the number of periods she's covering is per week. I think 12 periods she's covering. I think they're talking about number of periods per week. I'm not sure. But yeah. So is that appointment date something relevant? Now, for example, you're like it's teachers joining your schools, right? Do you think a teacher is appointed for a school, meaning when the teacher is going to what you call start this is about school teaching, huh? In school teaching, are teachers joining what do you call when they're joining something, do we consider the day they joined the school or the day they started teaching a subject? The appointment date, is it the day they join the school or the day school or teaching? What is the appointment relevant to? For example, there is a person called what do you call Gayani. She joined ABC school on 1st of November. 1st of November, let's say, was a Monday. As per her timetable, she had her first class on what do you call November 3rd. November 3rd was the first class she went and taught. So in her appointment date, will it be there as November 3rd or November 1st? What do you all think? November 1st. Because we are talking about the day she joined to school, not the day she started teaching. She can teach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as per her timetable. The appointment day, the day you joined the school. Okay. It's nothing relevant to the subject. That doesn't have a connection to the subjects he's teaching. It's the days he joined the school. Simple. Okay. Anyways, that's something. The appointment date and retired date, that's a data relevant to the teacher. So because it's a data relevant to a teacher, the most suitable table that has to be included is which table? One, two, or three? It's a data relevant to the teacher. So therefore, it should be mentioned in the teacher table. Okay. If it's a data relevant to the teacher, you mention the teacher table. If it's a data relevant for the subject, you mention subject table. If it's a data relevant to both, where do you mention? Like there's one data. This one data is dependent on two other data called teacher and subject both. So if it's dependent on both of them, yes. If it's dependent on both of them, then you go and mention in the teacher underscore subject table. Only in that situation, right? So they're asking what is the appropriate table and what is the appropriate data type. So normally if you take database, the different data types we have are one is numeric or as number. This is the data type used to store numbers only. Then we have a data type called text. We have a data type called date time. We have a data type called Boolean. And we have a data type called currency. No, no, you have currency. Sorry. So these are five data types we have relevant to database. That's string size or programming. When we're not talking about programming, we're talking about data type in database. In database, these are the data types we have. Actually, all will be learning data types in three places, prominently in two places. Mainly in spread database and programming, but in spreadsheet also there's something called data types. But we don't call them as data types in spreadsheet. In spreadsheet, we call them as number formats. So that's a different story. Anyways, what do you call they're asking what is the appropriate data type, right? So tell me to store the appointment date and retire date, what is the suitable data type out of the five I mentioned here? Perfect. Out of the five I mentioned here, the most suitable data type is going to be the date time data type. So if you had mentioned read the table, you get 1 marks, date time, you get 1 mark. That's how the marks distribution of this question would be. Anyone have any questions? Drop in the chat. Next, write a primary key field and its respective table name in the above database. Okay, normally we are talking about primary key. In primary key, what we mean is a unique field of a table. That means in every table, what is a no, these the column names are there, right? The column names we call them as fields. Huh? This is called a field. These are called a field. So in a table, each column name we call them as a field, right? And then each row we call them as records. Each row we call them as records. Each column we call them as fields, right? So out of the fields we have, the unique field is there, right? The unique field is what we call as a primary key, right? Now tell me, in the teacher table, do we have any unique fields like that? The teacher table? Like out of the, no, we have two fields in the unique teacher table. Huh? This is one field and this is another field. Out of these two, is any of them unique? Yes. Which one is unique? Is the teacher ID something unique or teacher name is something unique? When I'm saying unique, there has to be zero possibilities of repetition. Like in future, you can't always depend on the existing data. Like in future also, it should never repeat. Correct. Teacher name, there could be two teachers the same name, but teacher ID, no. That's something unique for every teachers. So in the teacher table, this is going to be the primary key. Similarly, in the subject table, is there any field that's unique to the subject table? Yes. In the subject table, what is the primary key? Correct. In the subject table, the primary key is subject code. So this is going to be the primary key. Now tell me, in the teacher underscore subject table, do we have a primary key? Actually, we have a primary key, but here the primary key is formed by a collection of fields, not by one field, by a collection of fields. Basically, if you're wondering what is the purpose of primary key, the purpose of primary key is to explain records. Like for example, I might tell here, you might use a primary key to explain records. I'll be like, this record is about T006. This record is about the teacher T005. This record is about the teacher T004. Here we'll be like, this record is about the subject S007. This record is about the subject S006. That's the purpose of primary key, to explain record, the fields you're going to use. If you're going to explain this record, or if you're going to explain this record, if I ask you what is the third record about, what are the fields you will need? Again, you have to keep in mind, your explanation cannot repeat. How to specifically identify a primary key? So primary key has certain qualities. One thing is it's unique, meaning the value of a primary key will never repeat. So you don't depend only on the available data. You always think about the future as well. In future, can it repeat? So it should be unique. So it should never repeat technically. Second thing is the primary key values are very important values that should never be modified. If it's a value that could get modified, then it's not suitable for primary key. If it's a value that will never get modified, then it is suitable for primary key. Third thing is it will never get deleted as well. Okay. But apart from that, you can also mention it is used to identify records. When I say identify records, what I mean by is just explaining each row. That's what I mean by identify records. So for example, if I have to identify the records in this subject and teacher underscore subject table, if I use, let's say, only the teacher ID. Now, in the given data, there is no repetitions. In the given data, there is no repetitions. But now look at the given database and tell me there is a teacher called T004, right? What is the name of that teacher? I don't need the full name, just tell me the first name. What is the name of the teacher T004? Correct. That's basically Danushka. Danushka. Okay. Danushka is really T004. Now, as per your experience in schools, tell me, is there 100% chance that one teacher will teach only one subject in your school? No. There are situations the same teacher will teach two subjects as well. Now, in this situation, we are saying Danushka is teaching which subject? This first row is talking about Danushka teaching which subject? Correct. Hey, this question practically has an error. Anyone can find out an error in this database. That's theoretically it's correct, but practically there's error. Can any have you 1 minute? No. 1 minute. No. Akit, be correct. How did they expect Muhammad Fahim to teach Buddhism? Anyways, what do you call that's a practical error. Let's leave that thing aside. Okay. So let's say what do you call there was a situation. What happened was now we want what do you call why can't it be unique for what do you call Muad? Now in O levels you'll have subject code, right? For every subject there's subject code, right? Do you have two subjects the same code? No, right? Anyways, Sajda comes that way, huh? So Sajda. Right. So, Rikas, I told you keep your opinions for your own selves. If you're replying, don't reply to others' messages. I'll put you out of the chat. I already put three people out now. You were there from the grade 10 session because I can remember your names. I'm keeping you. If you were not active in the class, I would have put you now without a second thought even. Okay. When you're replying for other chats, make sure you reply properly or give your own opinions separately. Anyways, the point is now let's say we have decided that now in this first row we are talking about who Dhanushika teaching S001, which means Dhanushika teaching Sinhala. Now we have decided that okay, let's say we have told that we have decided to tell that okay, hereafter Dhanushika is going to teach Buddhism as well, right? So let's assume that this was T004. Okay, let's assume this is T004. So in our situation, Dhanushika is teaching how many subjects now after my modification? Correct. After my modification, you can see Dhanushika is teaching two subjects, right? She's going to teach Sinhala as well as she's going to teach Buddhism. Now, in this situation, what do you call? I'll do another small modification as well. Okay. In this situation, we have told about English. Someone is teaching, right? Who is teaching English? English is S005. Who is teaching English? T002. Who is T002? Nihal. Okay, Nihal is teaching English. But what are the grades Nihal is teaching English for? 1 to 5. Now, let's say, for example, let's say we have a teacher called T006. Okay, let's say T006 is going to teach English for the senior section, that is 6 to 11. Okay, let's say, what do you call the subject called English is going to be taught to grade 6 to 11 by S005. Okay, now if the database was like this, okay, if the database was something like this, can we take teacher ID? Or else, can we take subject code as a primary key? No, we can't take. We can't take the subject code. We can't take the, what do you call this one? Now, always don't expect the questions to spoon feed you. What I mean, always don't expect the question to spoon feed you is don't just directly look at the question like this and be like, okay, is subject code repeating? No. Is teacher code repeating? No. And don't directly go and tell, okay, teacher ID is primary key. No. Just because it is not repeating in the given data, you can't call it as a primary key. Okay. Before you do the question, ask yourself this question. Is there a possibility it could repeat? Okay. So in this table, is there a possibility each ID can repeat? Yes. In which situation will teacher ID repeat? When what happens will teacher ID repeat? I showed you this example, right? What was that situation? If you're going to explain that in words, how will you explain that situation in words? Correct. Exactly. I'll show you, Sufit. Exactly. When the same teacher teaches multiple subjects, it can repeat. Okay. Now, can subject code repeat? Yes. In which situation will subject code repeat? I showed an example as well, right? So, in which situation will subject code repeat? Hmm. Perfect. When the same subject is taught for different sections. Yeah, because in same teach, what do you call this? Same subject for a different section. Okay, same subject, different section, not for different teacher. Huh? I mean, same subject can be taught by a different teacher, but more than different teacher, it's for different section. Like for example, for the grade 6 to 11, for the same grade 6 to 11, there is less chance that what do you call we have two teachers. If we have two teachers, then they'll segregate it more specifically. 6A to 6B this person, C to D this person killer. They might be more specific. But let's leave that thing aside. Look. Here where the subject code could repeat. One of the situation where subject code could repeat is in a section. Okay, because same section, particular 1 to 5 can repeat separately as 1 to 11. No. Now leaving that thing aside. So what do you call teacher ID can repeat and subject code also can repeat. Right? Can section repeat? Yeah, even in the given data, you can see section is repeated. So there is nothing else to think about it even. Can the number of periods repeat? Yes. For example, here they have mentioned for maths, they have given the subject number of periods 27. I guess in your school, maths and science, you'll have equal amount of time period, right? Number of periods you'll have for maths and science is it equal? I think it's equal. Mostly it's equal, as I can remember. So, for example, if there was a record for science here, I'm not exactly sure, but as I can remember, I think maths, science, and Sinhala, these should have equal number of periods. I think, I'm not sure. Okay. So, for example, if you want to add this one as well, if you want to add science as well, then science also will have equal number of periods, right? So based on that, is there a possibility, not the given data, but I'm asking, is it possible for two records to have the same number of periods? Yes, it is possible. So when you're answering such questions, you ask yourself, the thing you're going to ask yourself is you're going to ask yourself, okay, can there be two teachers the same teacher ID? So can there be two records the same teacher ID? Can there be two records the same subject ID? Can there be two records the same sections? Can there be two records with the same number of periods? Your question should be, can there be? Your question is not, are there or is there? Don't go and ask yourself, is there two teachers the same teacher ID? Is there two records the same subject code? No. Don't go and check is. Don't go and check present tense only. Check the present as well as future. Can there be also has to be checked. Okay, then only you can decide the for primary key. So if you're going to check only one data, or only one column, can you take only a single column here as primary key? No, you can't take a single column as primary key. Now tell me, if I take two columns together, then can I identify the what you call records uniquely? Like if I say, okay, this record is about the grade 6 to 11 section number about say section about what do you call 6 to 11 section 12 periods scenario. This is about grade 1 to 5's 24-hour teaching scenario. This is about grade 6 to 11 27. Likewise, is there a different way or same way, or is there any way I can identify every records uniquely of where without using one column, I'm going to use two columns to or three columns or four columns, basically more than one column. By using more than one column, can I explain each record uniquely? Yes. What are the columns? Dun, 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 dun. What are the columns I can take together to identify uniquely? All four. Mm, no, we don't need all four. We don't need all four. First, first two, no. First three, first two, three, two. Interesting. First of all, I'll clarify your doubts. Okay, so the different answers I got were this. Okay, some of the people said okay. So one of the answers I got was the first column and second column. This is what majority of you all gave. Some of you all gave first column and second column and third column. One of you all gave one and four. Apart from these three, any other answers? Apart from these three, any answers? Two and four. Okay. Any other answers? Okay, let's see. First of all, I'll clarify. I'll tell you two and three. One and four. Yeah, I should. Okay. I'll tell you where each of these answers will get. It is fine. Like, where each of the answers have a problem. I'll start with two and four. Let's see. I'll start with two and four. Okay. For those who said two and four, let's say the subject called English was taught for grade 1 to 5 for 24 periods. The subject called English was taught for grade 6 to 11 for 24 periods. Example. Let's say both of them are possible, right? You can't go and like, for example, let's say there's a subject called PT. The subject called PT, given 1 to 4, 6 to 1, both of them will have the same number of periods, right? You have only one subject, right? You don't have more than one period, right, for PT. Both of them are going to have the same number of time. So in that case, can both of them to repeat together? Sub column number 2, column number 4. Is it possible for the both of them to repeat together? Yes. If both of them can repeat together, is it suitable to take as a primary key? No. If it's repeating together, it is not suitable as a primary key. Got it? Now I'll come for 1 and 4. I told you an example of the teacher called T004. Okay. She was teaching for what do you call okay, let's say the teacher called T004. Okay, let's say this teacher called T004. Let's say she was teaching for maths and science. Example. Let's say maths was S06 and let's say science was S002. And let's say both maths and science, let's say both of them, she was teaching for grade 6 to 11 only. And let's say both of them she taught for 27 periods. Example. Okay. So now in this is 1 and 4 repeating. Same teacher, two different subjects, same grade, same duration. Repeating. Yes. So if there's a repetition, can we take that as a primary key? No. Now let's take 1 and 2. Okay, let's take 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is where, let's say, the subject called English was taught by Nihal for grade 1 to 5. Even 6 to 11 also Nihal only was teaching. Okay, let's say both the grades, Nihal only was teaching. So if Nihal is teaching for both the grades, now can 1 and 2 repeat? But let's say what do you call for grade 1 to 5, I'm going to reduce it for let's say 20. Now I'm going to do small modification. A situation like this. Okay, see, Nihal is teaching 20 periods for grade 1 to 5, 24 periods to grade 6 to 11. So that also can repeat. Okay, that also can repeat. Next, 2 and 3. That's an interesting answer, 2 and 3. Okay, there's a very is there a chance? I mean, unless they like break it as what do you call 6A 1%, 6B 1%, 7A 1%, 7B 1%, 8A 1%, 8B 1%, 9A 1%, I think, or A and B 1%, C and D 1%. If they break like that, then this answer is correct. Okay. If they break like that, then this answer is correct. But is there a possibility that same subject? In certain schools, but like if you go take my school, in our school we had I think from 8 when I was in school. Now I don't know how many letters there. When I was in school, we had from A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A to F, for A to G we had. Okay. So like grade 8A, 8B, 8C, 8D, 8E, 8F killer. I think every grade there was 6 classes minimum when I was there, long time back. Okay. This is the last I can remember. Now it's more than this as I know. Okay. So in that case, when you have up to F, let's say let count, and each class has around 40 students. I think A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C. I think A to C was taught by one teacher and D to F was taught by one teacher. And it's not like, so in grade 6, 7, 8 also the same teacher will be teaching. Here also 6, 7, 8, the same teacher will be teaching. Okay, so same teacher is teaching. So what do you call no, I was in Lyceum. What do you call so say different teachers are teaching for A to C and D to F. So in this situation, okay, in this situation, what happens is same subject, same section, same number of periods, Only difference is a teacher. Yes, Inoli. Okay. So there is a possibility. But again, I like this answer. It's a bit different. Okay. I did not expect this answer. This is a bit fair for certain majority of the school. This is fair. But then there are some large scale schools where that is not acceptable. Okay. That is not, yeah. So my recommended answer would be all three fields. Because there is no chance, if there are one or more teachers, they would assign sections and minimize one person's work. Huh? Not exactly. They don't assign, because what happens is that the teacher and student will get bonded. If you take grade 6, 7, 8, 6 is great for grade 7, you need the grade 6 knowledge. For grade 8, you need the grade 7 knowledge as well. Same for grade 9, 10, 11. For grade 10, you need the grade 9 knowledge. And it's like it's linked. For your O levels, you'll have 10 and 11, right? Will they give you a grade 10 one science teacher and grade 11 another science teacher? Will they do that in your school? What is more suitable? 10 one teacher, 11 one teacher? Or 10A, 10, 11A one teacher, 11A, 11 B? Like, see? Makes sense. So in schools, because 10 and 11 is one sections, O level. So for 10 and 11, for both the sections, they'll have the same teacher. But A class might have a different teacher, B class might have a different teacher, right? Very rare. Then if you're doing that, that's not a good. So good. Do you all like it? Is that helpful for you? You'll have that. You're saying in your school, you'll have that, right? But is it helpful for you? Do you all like that? Grade 10, one teacher, grade 11, one teacher. No. Actually, that's not good. Why? Because that consistency is not there. Okay, that consistency will get messed up. So we have to always think about the when you're creating database, we always think about the worst case scenario. Now, is it possible to is it possible for all these for two? No, I told you situations where it could repeat, right? For all these, I give you situations it could repeat. But is there a situation where these three could repeat? What if it was different that it happened for different teachers for all three terms? Correct. If it is different teachers for all three terms, again that's the same thing, right? The first term will have what you called S, but again, if that was different teachers, it will be changed. This T004 will be changed to the second term, it will be changed to T007, something like that. The third term, it will be modified because this is not going to have repetition. It will be modified. Okay. So, is there a possibility all three of them can repeat? No. Right. So, therefore, in this situation, to form the primary key, you will be taking all these three fields together. So, when you are taking more than one field to form the primary key, there's a special name for such primary key. We don't call them as normal primary key. Such primary keys we call as a composite primary key. Got it? Okay, such primary. So here they're asking the primary key. For this question, better not answer the third table's primary key. That's not safe zone. In the safe zone, you have teacher ID in teacher table. Always, mentioning primary key answers, mention the field name and table name both. So you have to mention something like teacher ID in teacher table. Okay. Then sub underscore code in subject table. Killer, mention both these datas. Is this clear, all of you? You have to mention the field name and table name both. How to write if they give to write composite primary key? If they want to write the primary key for that, they write it like this. Teacher ID plus sub underscore code plus section in teach underscore subject table. So this is how you write the answer for composite keys. Got it? 2 and 3 is wrong because more 2 and 3. Same subject for same section, so it can repeat. Yeah, correct. That I told you like 8A and 8B is one. Because here we're talking about sections, not grades. When a teacher T004 who is teaching 611 section doesn't that repeat? But when a teacher T004 who is teaching 611 section doesn't that repeat? What do you mean? Can we quickly find the composite primary key? You have to use a logics, like you have to ask that questions from your head. What if killer? You always ask this question, is it possible to repeat? Is it possible to repeat? So that's I can find within a minute, I can find within few seconds, I can find. That is because of experience. Because I create not because of doing experience of doing questions. It's the experience of creating database because we have for every application we make database, right? That you get with experience. She's doing multiple classes, right? Okay, so we're asking all three, right? Even though she's doing multiple class, will that same class repeat? Will we have another record saying T004, S016, all three same data repeating with the different periods? Like the first three data same, only the last value different. Is there a possibility that? No. That's why we took those three as the primary key. Got it? I didn't understand the last part where 1, 2, 3 can't repeat. First of all, tell me when 1, 2, 3 can repeat. If you know when 1, 2, 3 can repeat, only you will not understand why it can't repeat. Tell me where it can repeat. Then I'll argue it. Simple. Okay, next. Name a foreign key for the above database. You have to know, your question should be, okay, your question should be basically, can it repeat? Now, I told you, for example, I told you how to find the primary key, right? When I ask her how to find the primary key, did I ask her to go and check whether it can repeat or whether it can't repeat to go and check? Did I ask her to go and check whether it can repeat or did I go ask her whether it can't repeat? What was the question I asked her to go and check in your head? Can repeat or can't repeat? What should be the processing happening in your head? Exactly. I asked you to ask the cell question in your head is whether it can repeat. You can't ask whether it can't. Now, for example, you can't predict a negative thing. I mean, you can't predict whether it can't repeat. That is that can't, based on that you can't do this question. Your question should be, can it repeat? Okay. You're asking, okay, can the teacher write repeat? Can the subject code repeat? Can the section? So your answer should be can. And then what do you do? You nullify the options. You cancel the options and then you find the correct answer. Got it? The primary key you find not based on whether it can't repeat. Can't repeat is the final answer. But you find in the question, your question in the head should be can it repeat? Like your question should be here, can the teacher name repeat? Yes, it can repeat. If two teachers are in the same name, it can repeat. Can the teacher ID repeat? No. Every teacher is going to be given a unique teacher ID, so it can't repeat. Can the subject name repeat? Yes, it can repeat. When can it repeat? For example, let's say they want to differentiate. Now, for example, if you take what do you call it? Let's say there's a subject called okay, why okay, subject name, there's a less chance the name will get repeated. But even though the name will not get repeat, there's another no, let's if you take the word subject, even though the name will not get repeat, there's another reason why you can't take it as a primary key. I'll give you a hint. That reason I have written in orange color somewhere here. What is that reason? Why fourth column won't come? Why do you need? You form the primary key with the minimum number of columns, not maximum number of columns. Fourth column is if there is no purpose of adding the fourth column. If there was a reason, then yes. 1, 2, 3 is enough. If it's not enough, you go for the fourth. Got it? Unique. No, I told you sometimes subject names can be same. I mean, can be unique. Exactly. It can get modified. It can get modified. That's the reason. Okay. For example, we can take the word, there's a word called, what do you call mathematics here, right? Let's say initially that was named as maths. And then they came into, hey, this is not the wrong spelling for maths. We don't write maths. Normally we have to make it mathematics. And let's say a subject was Sinhala, right? They came into, Sinhala is not the correct name. The correct name for that is Sinhala language and literature. So if it's a value that can get modified, then is it suitable to take as a primary key? No. That is why subject name is not suitable there. Got it? So when you're finding primary key, your question should be, can this repeat? Can this repeat? Can this repeat? Can this repeat? Is it possible for repetition? Then if you have a doubt and both these can repeat, then you see, okay, what is more suitable, which will never get modified, all those stuffs. So can table 3, column 1 to 3 repeat? Ask yourself, can it repeat? Can it repeat? Think of a situation. If you can't think of a situation, then fine, you're good to go. I can't think of a situation where 1 to 3 can repeat. If you all can think, tell me. Then I will think of it. In my brain processing, I could not think of a situation. So I told 1 to 3. But again, keep that as the last answer. Okay, give me a minute. I'll quickly go to the washroom and come because for the last thing 5 hours, I'm just sitting in the same place. Only in the middle, I went to pray, I guess. I'll give it 2 minutes. I'll quickly go to the washroom and come. Wait. I'll be giving you a small dinner break actually after I'm done with the database question. Grade 10s means you all can leave after I'm done with 3, 4, 5. But grade 11s, you'll have to stay until the end. I'll be giving you a small break after the database question. Wait. Okay, I'm back. Anyways, what do you called? I'll what time the grade 11 session about? Grade 11, minimum 11:30. I think, based on how the timing is going on. Let's see, let's see. No more, there is no situation you can repeat. That's why I said, if I will tell that is the correct answer. Let's see, let's see. Anyways, a new teacher called Miss C, foreign key. Now, foreign keys are basically another table's primary key, right? Okay, so without knowing primary key, can we find foreign key? Without knowing primary key, can you find foreign key? No, you can't. To find the foreign key, you definitely need to know what the primary key is. Okay. So what happens is when a primary key is mentioned in another table, if you can see a primary key of one table in another table, then in that other table it becomes a foreign key. Simply saying, imagine for example, there is a president of Sri Lanka. Okay, we have what is that bugger's name? ADK, the AKD, the AKD. Okay, he is a what do you call president of Sri Lanka, right? Now, if this fellow goes to a foreign country, let's say he goes to India, okay. If he goes to India, the Indians will be like, Anna, foreign country president has come. Okay, if he goes to India, if AKD is waiting in India, it will be like, Anna, foreign country president is there. Similarly, let's say what you called, who is the president of this one? America, Trump. Yeah. Okay, so let's imagine America. Now, let's say if AKD go to America, we say, okay, the Americans will be like, Anna, foreign country president has come. But let's say if Donald Trump comes to Sri Lanka, do we call Donald Trump Anna, our country's president is going on? Do we call him as our country's president? No. Do we call him as a random foreigner? We'll be like, Anna, random foreigner is going in the road. Do we say random foreigner? के लिए हमें क्या नाम No. Can we call him as a foreign country's president? A foreign president? Yes. We can call him as a foreign president. So therefore, For us to call him a foreign president, first of all, he has to be a president of another country, right? If he is not a president of another country, can we call him as a foreign president? I would choose it, Aditi, but the people who don't come to my class, they'll be confused of what the hell is he jabbering. That's why to avoid the unwanted confusion, I did use an example. Okay, exactly. So what happens here is, if you notice here, the green color, what I have highlighted is there. That's the primary keys we found in the previous question. Let's go one by one. In the teacher table, the primary key we found out was teacher ID. Do we have this teacher ID mentioned in the subject table? No. Do we have this teacher ID mentioned in the teacher underscore subject table? Yes. So here in this table, this fellow is a foreign key. So one of the foreign keys we have is teacher ID in teacher underscore subject table. One of the current key we have is teacher ID in teacher underscore subject table. Yes, sorry. Now similarly, look at the table and tell me, we have a primary key called subject code, right? Do we have the subject code in teacher table? No. But do we have the subject code in teacher underscore subject table? Zuri human. Depends, Halima. Sometimes yes. But you call yes, it's then subject teacher underscore subject. So subject code in teacher underscore subject, yes, it is a foreign key. In teacher underscore subject table. This is correct. So these are the only two foreign keys we have in this table. Apart from these two, there is no other foreign keys available. Got it? Understandable. Question number 4. A new ICT teacher, Mr. Seneth Pereira, is appointed to the school under 2022 new graduate teacher enrollment. Which table needs to be updated in this database? Okay, there's a new teacher, it seems. Should I update the teacher table? Yes. Should I update the subject table? No, because they have not told about the subject he's teaching. Should I update the teacher underscore subject table? Again, no. Do we know what subject he's going to teach? Yeah, sorry, we know the subject he's going to teach. But do we know? Wait. Before that. Regarding the subject table, he's going to teach. There's a subject called ICT. ICT is not given in the database. But have they told that? Have they given the wording in such that ICT is an existing subject or ICT is a new subject? Existing or new? What kind of idea is being portrayed? Teacher is new. A new ICT teacher. The teacher is new, but is the subject new? No. And also, if you look at the subject code, it's going as S01, S0567. So that means 234 is missing. Okay, even though what you call, and you can see 234 has a meaning as well. So therefore, what you called adding subject ICT as a new subject is not suitable. Okay, adding ICT as a new subject is not suitable. I mean, as if the subject table, right? Why? Because they have not given the idea that ICT is a new subject. If they have told ICT is a new subject, then yes. So it's wrong? Yeah, it's wrong. Should we update the teach underscore subject table? In your words, not enough data. Exactly. Good job, Aditi. No. The reason we are not going to update the teacher underscore subject table is because one thing, we don't know what is the subject code. Okay, let's say you went and created the subject code as S08 as ICT. Okay, let's say you created below. But do we know whether he's teaching for the senior section or junior section? Do we know whether he is what you called teaching for this one and all? Whether he's teaching for how many number of periods? Do we know that data at least? No. So therefore, the suitable answer there is not enough data. Okay. So the table that is used to represent that there's this fellow called Seneth Pira is appointed to the school under the new grade. Basically, the whole statement is talking about what? The whole statement is talking about a new teacher coming. It is not talking about what do you call that this teacher is going to start teaching this subject or there's a new subject like this killer. So what do you call which table needs to be updated? To be precise, only the teacher table has to be updated. But if you write subject table, they will ignore it. I mean, they will not mark it as wrong. They will like they'll just ignore it. It won't be a problem for you. But if you write teacher underscore subject, that's definitely wrong. Okay. So that's direct wrong because not enough data for section and number of periods. Write down the updated records of the relevant tables, use the table and blah 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 format. Okay, fine. So now you're gonna show the how the table has to be updated. So how you do that is first of all you mention the table name, that is teacher table, like this. After you mention the table name, you put an arrowhead in brackets, you mention every field's value. The first field is teacher ID, so we can guess and write, okay, up to now we have T1 to T6, so the next teacher has to be T7. And the teacher name, that's going to be Seneth Pereira. So we write here Seneth Pereira. This is how you write the answer for that question. Okay. Can't we randomly put data for the section and periods in the teaching subject table? If it's necessary, yes. But for example, if you read that statement, what is the statement talking about? That statement's main, this is like an English class basically. That statement is talking about there's a new fellow joining under the new graduate enrollment. It's not talking about he's teaching ICT for this much subject, this grade, so not enough data. The principal wanted to get, so always keep in mind, when they ask you to show the updated records or show how you're going to write the new record, you first of all mention the table name, you open the brackets, inside the brackets you mention every field's value, comma separated. So first field has teacher ID, so the value that has to come for the first field, I wrote there T007, comma second field's value. Second field has teacher name, so that's why I wrote Sanath Perera. So if there's another field in the table, you put comma and write that other field's data. Yes, Ravindra. If you have any questions, ask. Next. The principal wanted to get a list of teachers whose number of teaching periods is less than 15. Which table or tables should be linked to create this query? Okay, in database, there's a feature called queries which they have. Queries are normally used to obtain data. So from a database, if you want to obtain data, you use there's a feature called query. Using that feature called query only, we can obtain data. Okay. But leaving that thing aside, what do we want here? We want the list of teachers whose number of teaching periods is less than 15. Okay, now practically, if you were given that task, if I ask you, okay, given the names of the teachers who are having less than 15 periods teaching, what is the first table you will go to find that answer? No, Mir, they'll just mark it. It's not, you will not get a separate marks that they'll ignore it. Is it Hara? First of all, you will go for correct. First of all, you're going to go to, okay, tell me table 1, 2, or 3. Let me call this as 1. Yeah. Table 1, table 2, or table 3? Which table will you go to first? Huh, really? Look at the table 1 and tell me, what are the names of teachers who teach more than 15 periods? Those who told me one. No, Atika, because record means the number of rows containing data. So teacher ID and teacher name, this is not data. Those are field names. But T01, Gayani, T02, Nihal, these are all data. So we don't consider the heading. Oh, that's Semina. Can remember, Hana. How do you know it's T001 and T00? Justify your answer. How do you know Gayani and Muhammad Fahim taught more than 15 subjects? More than 15 periods. This is not the table you have to go through first. What is the table you normally go through first? One, two, or three? Table three. In table three, we go and see who are the teachers who has more than 15 periods. So if you go and do that, you can see in this situation, more than 15, this fellow is there. This fellow is there. Yeah, only these two people are there for more than 15. Now, once you have found out those, sorry, less than, sorry, my bad. Less than 15. So less than 15 means this fellow is there and this fellow is there. Now, once you have found these two, next where are you going to go? One or two? No, that doesn't have their, we don't have their names, right? Correct. We have to go for teacher one. So in table one, we can go and see that Danushika and Muhammad Faim are the people who teach less than 15 periods. So to obtain this answer, you have to go through two tables. What are the two tables? The two tables are teacher underscore subject table, and second table is basically teacher table. So always keep in mind, if they give you questions asking what are the tables that has to be joined to do this, what are the tables that has to be joined to do that killer, if they ask you this, if they use this word called tables to be joined, the meaning of that is they're asking what are the tables you have to go through to find the answer. Okay, so to find the answer for the list of teachers who teach less than 15 periods, you have to go through these two tables. So this is the answer for that question. No, that's a form. Anyways, anyone have any questions here regarding database? Yes, Sumer. Is 10 minutes enough for you? Yeah, I'll give you a 10 minutes break. Technically, I have to eat within 10 minutes. Let's see if I can eat. Is it necessary to write in the order? No. You can mess up the order, not a problem. Exactly. Why teacher table? Without the teacher table, we can't get the names. Like if you go only for the teacher underscore subject table, the teacher underscore subject, we have the teachers' IDs. But if I ask you list of tables, list of teachers, go to the teacher table as well. That's why. What time will it end? Why are you so bothered about what time it will end, man? I'll be doing the HTML questions. Only one question is there remain for grade 11s, technically. What about 15 minutes? Okay, I'll give you a 15 minutes. You all can, grade 10s, you all can leave. Grade 11s, you all can keep the meeting running and come back in 15 minutes. Or else you all can leave and join also, no issues. But join. Don't leave and go ahead. Don't give a break. And if I don't give a break, when will I eat, man? The last 4 to 6 hours I've been teaching at a stretch. At a stretch. Even though there was a gap year also in the post in grade 10 and 11, I did not have a gap. I just had a 5 minutes gap to pray and come and then ask clarifying doubts. The great tens can leave now, right? Yes, the great tens can leave. What to do? There is no solutions I can give for my throat. Thank you, Hannah. Not yet, Hannah. Can you please explain the relationships part two? Ah, yeah. Just give me 5 minutes. So you have a 15 minutes break. No? Give me 15 minutes break. Give me 5 minutes. I'll quickly eat and come. I'll eat because my mother is shouting like that from there from behind. You can't hear her. But behind the scenes, she's shouting like hell that I'm not eating. So give me 5 minutes. I'll quickly eat and come. And then I'll explain the database relationships. Right. Actually, great tens also can wait if you want to hear the database relationships. True. Yeah. Yeah. Give me 5 minutes. I'll quickly be back. Okay, who wanted that database relationships part? We left on time. Okay, so that person is not there, so I'm not going to do it. Can see. Okay, let's start. My next plan is to go for the HTML part, but before I go for the HTML, do you all want to know about the database relationships? Okay, good. Let's go to HTML. Let's move on. You'll are fed up of database. Let's take memory ache. um, Free seminars, grade 11. Ta-da. Is it? So the plan is I'll be doing the HTML question now. That will take around maximum half an hour. That HTML is a small question. And that will be over by let's say around 10:30, let's say, averagely. After that, I can do selected questions from this paper if you want. Okay. I don't mind do the whole paper itself. That's a very true fact. Actually, there's a statement. Someone tells. Okay, anyways, fine, let's start. Like I told, I'll be finishing my seminar at 10 o'clock. Then what do you call what do you call I have a queen if you all don't know. Okay, so my queen was saying that no, 10 o'clock call you will not finish, she'll go until 12 o'clock. Kila. Anyways, let's forget about fantasy and come to reality. Will you do a programming seminar? Okay, because you all stayed so long, I'll give you all one thing as a gift. I'll give you all one thing. Wait, I'll basically it's not a gift actually. It's like I'm giving you all a what do you call sneak peek of something which I should not give you all. But I'm giving it to you all because you all are waiting. Where is my chat? Hmm. So the sneak peek is found it. Dun, dun, dun. This is the sneak peek. It will be released within this week. Okay, Fatima, I'll be finishing soon, don't worry. So yes, there will be. Ah no, wait, these are the final version. These are the final version. Wait, I forgot. Sorry. These are the final version. This is the final version. No, yeah. Anyways, yeah, okay, let's start. Not 10 p.m. It should be a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. I said it's not still finalized. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I doubt will I finish at 6 p.m. I think I have to take long. Online, physical कराना वह है. Physical I can drag no, online I can drag no. I'm gonna do it online. I could have put it 6 a.m. It would have been fun. Yeah, yeah, timing is wrong. The correct time would be 10 a.m. or else 9:30. The thing is, I am very bad at waking up. It's a poor day or something, so I am very bad at waking up in the morning. So it'll be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Let's see. Okay, let's start. Sorry. I'm not sure there's a poor day or a December 4th. See, what is the day? I'm not sure what is the day. So just figure out what is it. සිල් ගන්න උදේම යන්න හරිද සිල් ගත්තට පස්සේ එන්න අපි හතටම යන්න කියලද okay. I'm not sure what is the day. It's basically this one. It's on a boy day. Sorry. 4 days when you will have exams, man. Sad life. So go and come in the morning. Anyways, write the HTML tags 1 to 10, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's see. No, after 10, I'll start jabbering. You all know that, no? That day also I told about this stupid luck after 10 o'clock. I have a question, but it isn't related to lesson. I'm planning to start. I am not sure about SCS actually. The- Yes, from the basics, from the Baba stuffs. Okay, let's start. So you have the HTML tag, head tag, body tag. I'll post it in the channel soon. Just wait and see. I just showed you all because you all were saying so long. How do you think it? Anyways, we have the center tag. Within the center tag, we have the H2 tag. Within the H2 tag, we have something called what is a computer system. Okay, let's go and see. Let's go and see where is this text. There is text called what is a computer system. Let's go to the result and see what has been done. Okay, we have a text called what is a computer system, right? This text is coming to the middle because of this center tag. Fine. Then if you take H2, H2 is a type of heading tag. No, heading tag will increase the size and make it bold. So you can see size is big, it's bold, fine. But apart from that, there's one more formatting you can see for this text. What is that formatting? Why is it not physical? Two reasons. First reason, what do you call operations in physical when there is a large because there's a possibility if I do it physically a crowd will come, right? So accommodating this, like making the entrance and all those stuff, just to arrange for you all to come and sit down and for me to start the seminar, it'll take around half an hour. Like if you're coming from a physical class, you all know, for them to mark attendance and all those stuff, it'll take around 50 minutes. So second thing is what you call it's not my throat. I'm not supposed to shout. I'm not supposed to speak even. Okay, but I want to do the seminar because you all are weak at that. So that's why what you call I'm doing the online. Even I'm not supposed to do it online even. Oh, sorry. Seems like bold, not sure. The bold is coming through the heading tag. So normally when you use a heading tag, there are two formattings that happens. One is basically bold, other one is size increase. Okay. What is Vikas? Okay, so coming back to the point, what you called I'll be giving up some grade 10s are done, grade 11 is still processing. So that size and bold is done by the H2 tag. So other formatting you can see is the text is underlined. To underline a text, what is the tag we use? Sorry. Correct. In order to underline a text, we use a U tag. So one is going to be U tag. If you have any questions, ask. Number 2 and 3, you can see they're mentioned, both of them are mentioned together here. Okay. Let's see, is 2 and 3 mentioned somewhere else as well? No, only there. So is 2 and 3, okay, 2 is closing here as well. So you can see there's an open 2 tag and a closing 2 tag. but 3 doesn't have a open close separate killer. Fine. You can see they have mentioned here text. A computer system consists of hardware components, blah 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 blah. Killer. There's a whole text here, right? Normally, if you want to include these kind of text, exactly, we can include that in a paragraph tag. But if you're going to assign that as a paragraph tag, out of 2 and 3, which number is more suitable to include as a paragraph tag? The p tag. Perfect. 2 is more suitable for the paragraph tag. Now, if 2 is more suitable, then we have number 3. Okay. You can see number 3 is, they have mentioned number 3 in that open tag itself. So normally in a tag, right, the first thing you can see is called the element name. So here we found out the element is going to be paragraph. Then number 3 is representing what? Sorry. If number 2 is element, number 3 is representing like P, what? And P is the element. Exactly. That's called the attribute. Okay. In the paragraph tag, what was the attribute we learned? I think I taught it only one attribute if I'm not wrong. Up to date. What was the attribute we learned for the paragraph tag? What are the attributes we learned? Font is a different tag. There's a separate tag called font. Yes, the only attribute we learn for the paragraph tag is align attribute. Okay, we learn only one attribute. That's align attribute. So look at that paragraph and tell me in that paragraph, what is the alignment you can notice here? Sorry, is it left, right, center, or justify? Left is where all the text are start touching the left hand side, like this. Right is where all the text are touching the right hand side. Center is where all the text are in the middle, like this. Justify is where the text is touching both left and right. Sometimes the last line will not do it, but the remaining lines are touching both left and right. That's what justifies. So this is called justify. This is called right. This is called left. And this is called center. Correct. This is basically the justify alignment. So here the attribute is going to be P align equals justify. So therefore number 3 is going to be align equals justify. So these are called attributes. Okay. So if the P is called the element name, align is called the attribute, and JS, the justify is called the value. So element, attribute, value. Sorry. Attribute means, and why not left? Okay, I'll answer those two questions. Apart from that, there was one more question. Sorry. Attributes are certain things you can do to modify that tag. Okay, so for example, you all can use this website as well. So I use this in class. If there's anyone who's not coming to my class, there's a website called code.master.it. You all can go and type HTML codes there for practicals. Anyways, coming back to the point. Yes, Mariam. So you open the, let's say, P tag. You close the P tag. It's a paragraph tag. So within this, you can go and include a paragraph. So let me just take a random paragraph below. Meaningless text. Copy. And let's say I'm going to paste the paragraph here. Okay. Now you can see a result in the left hand side, right? Where let me move the screen. This is what we call, this is how the left alignment looks like. Okay. Not exactly, Fatima, right? So this is how the left alignment looks like. Let me just remove the number of sentence to make it a bit, I can just drag it, sorry. Okay, this is how a paragraph would look like. Now, in this element called paragraph tag, if you want to do some modifications to whatever the text that is there inside, you can do it using an attribute. So different tags has different attributes. For paragraph tag, the attribute we learn, there's only one attribute we learn, that's align attribute. So if I mention it, let's say align equals right. So now you can see all the text are there in the right hand side. If I go and mention, let's say align equals center, Now you can see all the text are coming in the middle aligned. And if I mention align equals justify, now you can see it's touching both left and right. Okay. So this is what you call as an attribute. Is that part clear? For those who ask what is an attribute? If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Second question, some of you were asking, why can't we take that as left align? Okay. Normally, if it is left align, then all three of them will not be the same line like this. See, it's all of them are parallel, right? If it's left align, it will not be parallel like that. Okay. So for example, if you look at this text here, you can see the right hand side, see, or in the right hand side, all of them are touching, right? See, all the lines, they're touching the right hand side. But if I make it left align, is all the lines touching the right side corner? Exactly in a straight line? No. Okay, so that's why it's not right left align, but it is justify alignment because it was touching both the sides. Got it? Wait, where did this go? Okay, next. That's why they must have written in the classes probably. Tag number 4. Something SRC equals computer JPG. Okay, we use SRC attribute inside which tag? At the end, I'll tell Mushita. Correct. We use SRC attribute in the image tag. So number 4 is going to be the image tag. And SRC is an attribute. In the SRC attribute, we mention the image source. And then we have 5 is equal to 2 and 6 is equal to computer. Okay. Now 5 and 6 are two attributes, right? For the image tag, there are several attributes we wrote. The main attribute we need, without that, you can't even load an image. What is the main attribute we need for the image tag? Perfect. The main image attribute we use for the image tag is SRC. Apart from SRC, the other few attributes we have are one is to define the height, one is to define the width. Okay, one is to define the height, one is to define the width. Apart from that, there's another attribute we learned. Suppose, let's say the image does not load. If the image does not load and we want to show a text, okay, so we are going to mention an image here, right? If this image doesn't load, we want to show a sample text. For that, we use a alt attribute. Okay. So out of this, is this tag number 6? Is tag number 6 suitable for height or width? No, because you can see there's a text in front of it. So what is the most suitable attribute for type tag number 6? Perfect. For tag number 6, the alt attribute is more suitable. Now tag number 5, it could be width or height. Now if you want to know exactly where to what the answer is, you can go for the question. So the question, they have actually told you what are the answers you are used from. So we have used this fellow, we have used underline, we have used paragraph. 1, 2, 3. We used, what are the ones we used? 1, 2, 3. Image and alt. Image also we use, alt also we used. Okay. So now for the remaining parts we have here. Okay, for the remaining parts we have, did we use SRC? No, we did not use SRC. What do you call, for the remaining tags we have here, have they given height or width? The height width. Those two have they given? No. There's an attribute called border as well. I did not do this in the class, but okay, there's an attribute called border as well. You can use border as well for image. I'll show Fahma, wait. Okay, so apart from this, you can add a border as well. Border is like a outline for that image, like a thick stroke will come around the image. So because width and height is not mentioned, we can use a border attribute. So for 5, we can mention that as a border attribute. Are you all clear with that? But if with the height was there, I would have gone for that. But again, with the height being 2 is not practical because 2 is a very small number, pixels. So yeah. One of you asked regarding image tag. I'll show you. Imagine we want to represent the image in the website. So we're going to use image tag now. So you open image tag like this. Image tag is a single tag. It doesn't have a separate open close tag. In SRC attribute, we mention the image source. So for example, let's say I want to represent an image of an animal. So I'll go and take that animal's picture. Yeah, I want human, man. Okay. So let's take a nice animal's picture from you. Okay, nice picture is there here. So one of your pictures, one of you had uploaded a picture to Google, not bad. Okay. So I took the link of that picture and I mentioned here the SRC attribute. So now you can see that image is loaded, but the image is too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize the image. So there's an attribute called width and height. So I'll be like, let's say I'll use a height attribute. I'll mention height is equal to 200. Okay, no shape. So now I have here a link talking about the image, right? Let's say there was an error in this link. Okay. Yeah, I noticed a human spelling mistake later only. Mostly, I think, not always, but 99.9% chances. What else I ask? Anyways, what do you call that's what I'm going to do Hana now at the moment. Okay, anyways, the point is now you can see we have the SRC attribute no, where the image is there. Let's say there was a small error in my link or that image was deleted. Okay, so for example, I'm going to go and mention a V2. Now there is an error in my image. When there is an error in the image, is anything loading? Like is the image is there what do you call is any pictures loading? No, you just have a small icon. This we call as icon, okay? You just have a small icon loading. But randomly, if you come for the website and if you look at this icon, will you be able to interpret what would have been the image? No, the image did not load fine. But if the image loaded, what image would have loaded killer? Can you like even interpret that? No, you can't. Okay. So in that case, what happens is my purpose here is not to teach the image tag. This is all tag. So focus on the content. Okay. So what we can do is we can add an attribute called alt here. So for example, let's say I mention another attribute here saying alt, and I'm going to be like alt equals this is an ugly image. So this is a beautiful image. Okay. So now what happens is when the image is not what do you call when the image is not loaded, okay? When the image is not loaded, this text is visible. But if the image is loaded, now for example, let's say image loaded successfully. If the image loaded, now can you see that alternate text? No. So the alternate text is something that will be visible in situations when the image is not loaded. Clear? That's what the alt attribute is used for. Got it? Those who have any doubts, drop in the chat. Next, question number 7. Something size equals for no shade. Basic components of a computer system. What is there before below that? Okay. There is a topic called basic components of a computer system, right? You can see there's one small element above that basic components. Okay, below the image. Okay, this is for the image tag. No? Below the image and above that basic components. There's something you can see in between them. What? Between the image and the topic called basic component, there's one thing you can notice, right? What is that called? What is that? What can you see here? What is the thing you can visually? What can you see, man? Are you blind? Exactly. You can see a line. Okay, you can see a line. Normally, if you want to get a line in HTML, a horizontal line, because this is horizontal line, no? If you want to get a horizontal line in HTML, there's a tag called HR tag. Okay, so I'll show you if you all want here. If I use HR tag here, see, can you see horizontal line? The correct name for that is horizontal rule. Okay. Now, normally, we say single rule, square rule, right? So the word rule means line basically. Okay. So HR tag is used to create an horizontal line. Is that clear? It's a single tag. Yes, it is a single tag. Correct. Actually, HR is not there in syllabus as I can remember, but yeah, that's fine. But you can get questions, so keep it in mind. It's darker in the pic because of the size. Yes. So if I put size equals 4 here, that's also a little bit dark. Size equals 4. See? And if you want it to get that no shade, you have to put no shade. Okay. Now that shade won't be there. So it'll be perfect. Those are attributes anyways. Whatever. So number 7 is going to be the HR tag. Okay. So keep in mind, if you want to get a horizontal line, we use the HR tag. Okay. Tag number 8. You can see tag number 8. After the tag number 8, you have the li tag. This is what we learned in last week's class actually. List items. Okay. So tag number 8 should be defining a type of list, right? So look at this list given there, input device, output device, those devices, and see what type of list is this, ordered or unordered. What is HR tag? Here, this one, horizontal line. HR stands for horizontal rule, but it's used to create horizontal line. This is done by HR tag. Got it there. What is no shade? Normally there's small shade. See if I remove this. See, put white color gati. If I zoom and show, I can zoom and show. See, if you notice, it's filled using like a small white color shade. So you add that no shade, that what do you call the white colorness will go. See, yes, Prashita. It always stays that. Yes. So basically, there are two types of list. This is called the ordered list, where you have the numbers as labels, or the labels are something that's measurable. How do you call these types of lists? Perfect. These are called the unordered list, where the labels are not, where the labels in front of each items are something that is not measurable. Anyways, coming back to the question. So because now input device, central out processing device, output device, secondary storage, these numbers, these are mentioned in front of numbers. You can call number 8 as an ordered list. So to create an ordered list, we have the OL tag. Okay, number 8 is the ordered list. Then number nine, you can see it is there inside the hyperlink. See, it is there with the anchor tag. So A is the anchor tag that's used to create links. These are used to create links. Okay. If you notice here, there's a text called input device. So if someone clicks on this text called input device, they'll be taken to another web page. Okay. Now to create those hyperlinks, we use anchor tag now. In the anchor tag, the URL is mentioned in which attribute? Number 9 is attribute actually. What is attribute? Perfect. In the anchor tag, we use the href attribute to mention the URL. So number 9 is href. Number 10, again, it's talking about a type of list. Okay. So it's, so if you take number 10, it's there for this keyboard, mouse, barcode, read all those stuffs. That's a what type of list? Keyboard, mouse, barcode. Yes, unordered list. To create an unordered list, what is the type of this one we have to use? Tag we have to use. Perfect. We have to use a URL tag. So 10 is going to be the URL tag. And yes, these are the codes for this part. Anyone have any questions regarding the coding of HTML? Can you show the answer list they gave? Oh yeah. So we use href attribute, we use the HR attribute, we use the UL and OL. OL type equals 1. So here in the question they have said OL type equals 1. So because they've asked to use the list given and write the answers, then here I mention OL type equals 1. But the type equals 1 is not even necessary because the default type of ordered list is type equals 1. Yeah, HTML is actually very easy. There's nothing hard in that. If you know the content. I will explain table. Give me a moment. Yes, Amna. Okay, I'll explain table, but before I explain table in HTML, I'll just answer these Roman number 2 and 3 as well. Because that's a small question. Okay. Yes. Even now, if you go, it's there. In the writing book, I'll share later, but now if you go, whatever I write is visible. Yusuf. Name to web editing softwares. Um, the correct name should be web designing softwares. Okay. No, Figma, those are wrong. I'll tell you what's the correct answer here. Normally, to create websites, okay, to create websites, yes, we did not learn in the card. Normally, to create websites, y'all learned only one method. Not those websites, man. Those all AI. Okay, to create website, y'all learned only one method, which is basically writing codes. But without writing codes, you can create websites as well. Okay. I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about without writing codes, you can drag and drop elements and make website. So if you're going to drag and drop elements and make website, kind of yes, like a platform as a service, correct. But by dragging and dropping, if you're going to create websites, those are what we call as web designing softwares. Scratch, you can't make websites. Scratch is used for application development, not for. I don't think you can make websites using Scratch. I can't remember. I have not used it for a long time. Canva, I don't think so. Okay. So here you can drag and drop elements and make websites. And again, there are two types of websites. I don't think I have taught you all this in the class yet. In the class, have I taught you all about something called static and dynamic websites? No, there are two types of websites actually. These are not type of web designing softwares. There are two types of websites. When you take a website, you can classify a website in two categories. One is called a static website, and one is called a dynamic website. Simply saying, static website is a code that has only HTML codes, fully HTML, and it will just show to you. Dynamic website is depending on certain factor, depending on something, the website changes. Like for example, depending on the person who user who is logging, or else depending on the country you're logging in from, or else depending on the time you're logging in from, or else for example, depending on the what do you call it, depending on some factor, depending on certain factor, the website is going to change. That's called a dynamic website. Like for example, you'll have the Instagram website, right? Now, let's say both of us go for the Instagram website, Instagram's homepage. Okay, I log into my website, you also log into your website, both of us in Instagram homepage. Is there 100% chance that both of us will have the same content in the web page? Same thing, exact same thing. No. Or else forget about other websites. Even you'll have this Mastodon website, right? If I go for the Mastodon website, and if both of us go for the, let's say we log into our profile. Okay. What's my password? Okay. Let's say both of us log into the website. And after we log into the website, let's say both of us has gone to the profile page. Okay. If you all go to your profile page and I go to my profile page, will both of us have the exact same thing details here? Will you also see my name in your profile page? Or if you go for the My Schedule page, are you going to see the exactly the same content? No. Depending on the profile who is logged in, the contents changed. So those websites we call as a dynamic website. Is that clear? So there is no connections. Okay. But if I go for this website, for example, this, let's say a website like this is a website which all of your websites are there. Okay, which are uploaded. I'll just take a random person's link. Okay. Now this is a website. Okay, the other web page. Now this web page, the same link. If you go, I go, if any of us go, will all of us have the same content, or will all of us have different contents? What do you all think? If each of us access the same exact URL. Yes, Ayaz. Why, for example, if you go for this classes page, if you go for this what you call grade 11 class, okay, now you can see here what do you call the class is at November 27th, 4:45 now. At 4:46, if you come here, will this class be visible? No, it will not be visible. Or else if you come in December first week, will it show you these 2 weeks? No, it will show December week 1, December week 2, December week 3. So that's why we say from time to time the contents will get changed. Got it? Anyways, come back to the point. But you call all of your access this website, you are going to get the same exact content. So this is static web page. So static web page, it doesn't change the content based on certain factor, meaning it doesn't change based on the user, it doesn't change based on the country, it doesn't change. There is no reason to change. But dynamic websites, depending on certain factors, the contents gets changed, right? So based on that, tell me, you have this website called Facebook, right? What do you think Facebook will come under? Static or dynamic? What type of category do you think Facebook will come under? Correct. Facebook will come under dynamic website. Let's say websites like okay, there's a website called Arthur C. Clarke. Okay, not this website. I'll show another website for you. Let's take this website. For example, there's a website that's in my head, but I can't use that website. Uh, I'll just use it. No, I'll just use it, man. Okay. There's a website like this. In this website, I can go and modify the contents. Okay, if I go here for seminars, I think it'll show very old seminars. See, 14th August take a seminars, it's showing here, right? And I think conclude the session, magi udama thina. On 31st July, I have done a seminar. Interesting. Anyways, what do you call the now if you take this old website which you can see here, okay, I can modify the content. Okay, I can modify the content. But do you think this website, if you're just look at this website and tell me, do you think this website comes on a static or dynamic? What is your perception? Sorry, you're so young in it because in the first year you're into teaching, man. See this face and this face. This is actually a static website. Why I'm saying this static website is because if I want to change the content in this website, to change the content in this website, I have to go and change the coding. Like for example, did that website. Okay. So if I, so this is a application that's used to create that website. Huh? They are web designing software. See, there is no coding. Without coding, you're making a software. Okay. That is video, no? So this is now, for example, let's say I drag this and I put this under here. Okay. And I'm going to publish this. Publish. Now I did some changes here. Okay. I'll reload this page. The same page I saw here. I'm going to reload this page. See, once I reload this page, okay, this page is cached. So let me control command F5.
Accessibility shortcuts.
How do you refresh hard
Use the
refresh?
tab key to.
How do you hard refresh in Macman? Command and Shift and R. Command Shift R. So now you can see I just hard it's something called caching in websites. Okay. Anyways, I refresh the website. Now you can see that text has come down. Now here what happened was, did it automatically come down or after it came after a manual change? It came after manual change. So the change, if you notice, this is a developer. As a developer, I did some change here. After I did that change as a developer, now for example, I'm going to remove this part. Okay, I'll just remove this part here. As a developer, I'm removing this part. So after I remove this part and after I save it, and now if I come and refresh this page, you can see, wait till again, is it published? Yeah, it's published. See, it took some time to get changed because of something called caching. But you can see now if I refresh, it's gone. So this is not, now if you notice here, the website got updated, but not automatically. In dynamic website, the content will get automatically updated. You don't have to go and touch the codings. In static website, if you want to update the website, you have to go and update the codings. Okay. So normally, designing websites, there are two types of websites you could design: static websites and dynamic websites. So if you are going to design static websites, you have tools like Joomla, Drupal, wait, WordPress come here. You get WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal. Static and dynamic, sorry. And for static websites creating, we have something called as Blue Griffin and we have mm, can't I erase this? No, I haven't getting the names. Other one is called, I'll get the tute, it's in the tute. Where is that? Haven't I given examples for static website? Sorry. You all have not learned WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal. You all wait. Where is Blue Griffin and all then? You all have learned. It's there in the syllabus. Ah, here. Composer, CK and Blue Griffin. So I was wondering. Composer, CK Blue Griffin. Blue Griffin, Composer, and CK Editor. So these are three apps you can use to create static website without any code. Why? Okay, so these are so basically if you take these web designing softwares, you can design a website without any coding. In your syllabus, these are the six applications you are learning. So for the two web designing softwares, they're expecting something from your from these answers because these are the answers that's there in your syllabus. Okay, got it. Why not Notepad, Microsoft Word, etc.? Those are called what do you call text editors. Using these, you can type code. These are used for writing codes. The code.master.id website, then what do you call WordPress, see what do you call Visual Studio Code, take Notepad. These are all used to write code. In web designing software, you don't write code. You just drag and drop and make websites. This is basically web designing software. To create something, I just drag and drop something which is there here and I make the whole website. It's called Google site. If you're free, you can go and check it out. But that's called, they have several applications like that. I don't know. Can you send this to the group? Do you mean I'll be sharing your okay, I'll be sharing your the exam paper I wrote and then notes I was writing. If you all want to access these tudes, I will give you all access for that separately. Only for you all, huh? Currently, most of you actually have this. If you're in my class student, you might have it. But class Nadikati, I'll give you all it. You have access to all my notes, all subject notes. All the tudes are there in this. If you go for this tutelinks.txt, you'll be able to see all the lessons, lesson wise, all my tudes are there. You can field PDF basically. You can access the PDF version of all the tudes from here. Just copy the link and paste in your browser, you'll get the tude. I'll share this. Majority of you already have it, but yeah, here you go. Sk- sk. Sorry. So are these content management websites? To be precise, they're basically web designing softwares. They come normally dynamic web designing softwares, they come under the category of CMS as well. That's why it's there in that tute like that. Last time you gave it very Anyways, so they're expecting either one of these answers, but I think preferable answer would be these because these are some basic applications. Huh? Anyways, next. Name two parts of the URL. So if you take this URL, the HTTP part, how do we call that as? Correct. We call that as a protocol. And how do you call this part called triple W? It's called a service, not service provider, just service only. Yeah. Then moe.gov.lk, the whole thing we call as a. Could you please read the words below static? Blue Griffin, Composer, CK Editor. Perfect. That's called the domain name. And then in the domain name, this LK part, how do you call that as? Correct. That's called the top level domain. In this domain name, we have the MOE part. How do you call that as? That's called subdomain. Then you have this part called e-services slash sinhala slash. This one, how do we call that as? Perfect. We call that as the path to the resource. Okay. And how do we call this part called form.pdf as? Exactly. We call this as the resource. So these are the parts of the URL. Is that clear, all of y'all? Correct, Mushda. Okay, from here, the section I plan is over. But I'm going to teach you all one thing extra. That is in HTML, there's a part called tables. So if you all stay, it's not there in the question, but that's going to be useful for exams. So I'll teach you all about HTML tables first thing. After that, the session is going to be open. You all can ask any amount of questions you all want. Whether it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I'll be answering. Okay. I actually wrote as World Wide Web for the B, and no, you will not get marks for World Wide Web. B is basically domain name, but for the service part, if you write World Wide Web, you will not be getting answer because that is what it stands for. They will not ask you what does each of them stand for. They will be asking what does each of these represent. So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, but it represents a protocol. Triple W stands for World Wide Web, but it represents a service. Got it? Okay, let me show you the tables now. In HTML, there's something called tables you can create. Dun, 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 dun. To create a table, you need the table tag. Okay, so look at the screen, all of you. And we're closing the table tag. Right. Any questions on SALC? I can give you SDLC after this. Stay. Yes, Amna. This is for the people who has exams. I'll be doing this in the theory class next coming week. We're doing tables only. So, anyways, if you all want it now itself, stay. Or else you can learn from the theory class. Yeah, yesterday I think I sent you all the messages 4 o'clock or something in the morning only. Okay. Can you revise the href tag also? Okay. Stay. So in the table tag, there's a problem now. First of all, I'll tell you how to create tables. Now, normally, if I'm drawing a table, how do we draw tables? We draw tables like this, right? We first of all draw the columns, and this is how you draw a table, right? HTML has a different way of drawing table. It draws table like this. It'll first of all draw a row, then create the next row, then create the next row. Like that way, it creates table. So let's see how do we create tables using HTML, huh? Tell me your secret for staying up too late. Speaking. Actually, yesterday I slept in between. I was making the post that say yesterday I saw at 4 o'clock I posted a poster, right? I was making that post at 3 something and I slept. And then I woke up at 4. I'm like, oh my god, I have not still posted killer pata pata killer I posted. So it was like a half an hour gap is there in between making that poster. It is by mistake I slept, not purposely. Anyways, so in the table tag, the problem we have is first of all, I'll show you how do you create tables. I told you create row by row. So to specify a row, we use a tag called the tr tag. So let me open the tr tag. Why can't I type anything? Sorry. So you open the tr tag, inshallah. Open the tr tag, close the tr tag, and you create everything row by row. So normally in a table, in the first row, what can you get? Do we get heading or do we get the content? Normally, in a table, if you see in the first row itself, what type of thing do you see in the first row? The first row has a heading or first row has a content? Yes, understandable, Hannah. Correct, heading. To create headings in HTML, we have the th tag. So th stands for table heading. So you open the th tag, close the th tag, So let's say I'm going to create a table with two headings. So open th tag and close the th tag. So here I'm going to have the heading as, let's say, name. And let's say here I'll have the heading as contact. Right. So this is the first row of my table. Now to specify the second row of the table, I'll again use a tr tag. So I'll again use a tr tag. But here in the second row, I'm not going to have the heading. In the second row, I'm going to have a normal data. Okay. So to include the normal content in a table, we use a td tag. Tr is used to specify a table row because I told you in HTML, we don't draw the table vertically. We do it like a building block. Like, you're building a house again. You go build house row by row. Okay. So first of all, I made the first row. So we are saying in the first row, there's going to be two headings. That's my name and contact. Then we go in for the second row and we are saying the second row has two datas. That is, let's say Amal and let's say Amal's contact number. Something like this. Example. Okay. So now let's say we have another row. We want to create another row. To create another row, again, can you imagine Nafa? Okay. So I have another row here like this. Okay. So this is how tables are created in HTML. Got it? The basics of a table. But there's a problem in this table. It doesn't look like a table. Why? What are we missing? What is the result missing? Correct. By default, in HTML, when you create tables, you don't get the border. To get that border, for the table tag, you need to add an attribute called border, saying border is equal to, say, whatever you want. So by default, you have border equals 1. You can increase the border like this. Yeah. So if you add the border tag, border attribute, you will be able to get a normal table. These are the basics of a table, but there are more stuffs. Table has something called as, what do you call, call space and margin is double size. Not exactly. TR stands for table row. These are basics of a table. Okay, Nafa, GN. Yes, we have call span, row span, and there's something called this one as well. What do you call cell space? Cell space and cell padding. Like cell space is from the cell outside gap. So if you put cell space, that's basically like if you put cell space equals 5, not cell space, sorry, cell I put cell padding equals 5, that is inside gap. And cell spacing is outside gap. Cell spacing. So if I'm going to show it to you separately, if this is a cell, the gap you have out of the cell is there, right? This outside gap we call as padding. And then you have the inside gap now. From here to here, here to here, here to here. We call that as cell. Sorry, this is called spacing. And that's called padding. Cell padding. And this is called cell spacing. Outside is space, inside is padding. So I'll increase and show if you all want. See, it increased. But these are the basics of tables. You don't get, I mean, in normal HTML questions, basic stuff, they don't, even though this is there in a syllabus, you don't get much questions regarding these cell merging. Basic stuff is around knowing the TR, TH, and TD. So if you want that table to be like, if you notice here in the table, okay, you are getting this one, you're getting like a small gap, right? If you don't want, you want that gap outside, then you can say cell spacing equals 0. See? Now you don't get that outside gap. Atika, that's fine, but watch the recording. You can watch it after 3 days as well. If we have hundreds of dates, if you want to repeat TR steps, yes, correct. For 100 of data, you repeat the TR again, again, again. So for example, can we add color to the table? You mean border, the table's border's color? Or you're asking inside the cell color? If you want the table's border to change inside the cell, you can add a color. For that, you have to use using style attribute you can do, but without style attribute, I don't think there's attribute called color. I don't think there's attribute called color. No, there is no attribute called color. There's something called style attribute you can use. Hmm, I don't think these are suitable way. This is how we normally do inside, but again, they're no syllabus. It's not there in a syllabus, but inside the cell color fill, let's see. I don't think there's attribute. Okay, BG color. There is, sorry, my bad. I was wrong. BG color. So yes, did attribute. Not that we forget, we don't use this is not in real program, we don't do these attributes. We don't even put all these stuffs. Seriously. I'll show you if you want. If I go for the one of our websites, like if I show, let's say you go for MasterMath's website. In the MasterMath website, you'll have this one, right? You'll have the table, right? In that we don't use all these stuffs. Select the institute online. What is your admission number? 1001. What's the password? This. So you have a table here, right? I'll go and show it to you all if you all want. That table will not have a anang manang. See? That table doesn't have any this ones. Or what do you call border equals 0 naha. There is no, sorry, border equals 1 naha. Cell spacing equals 0 naha. Nothing of this is there. So we go with something called class. These are all advanced stuffs. Okay. We never work, we work with style attributes. In reality, that's how it works. Anyways, any other questions anyone have? I said some question I'll ask in the end. I'll answer in the end. Y'all is href. Yeah, anchor tag is like this. A tag. This is what we use to create links. So in between the open anchor tag and closing anchor tag, you mention the text to show. So I'll be mentioning text called click here. But if I go and click on this text, nothing happens. Okay. So if someone comes and clicks this, where they have to be sent, that you mention in the href attribute in the open tag. So href equals, and here we mention https master.it.lk. So now if someone comes and clicks, they will be sent to another website. So this is how hyperlinks work. href attribute. Did you make that one? Yeah, that's the website I made. Are you buying the domain? Yeah, there's hundreds of domains I have, Is style attribute and in-class CSS? Yeah, correct. I asked how left align works. I mean, like, why is different from just? I answered that question, man. Left align. This was the good. There were some questions I asked to ask. Then I missed this question. What are the other questions I have remaining? Drop in the chat. I want you to ask all the questions, man. It's open session. Anything you want, I'll clarify. When bullets are used, it's coming under UL tag. Yes, you have basically you have these labels, right? In a list, you have labels. So you go and ask yourself, are these labels something that can be, is it a something that can be measured or cannot be measured? Like, is it a quantitative data or qualitative data? So if it's something that can be measured, like for example, or arranged, like for example, if I say sort this list in ascending order, now if my labels are there in A, B, C, D, you all can sort this in ascending order, you all can sort in the descending order, right? But if it's in bullet forms, can you sort these bullets into ascending or descending order? No. So if you can arrange these labels into different ways, like ascending or descending, then we call it as ordered list. And if you can't arrange these labels, that is where we call it as unordered list. Correct, Ashara? Yeah, that's it. But if you have any questions, you can stay and ask. Those who have any questions, or can stay and ask. Those who don't have any questions, if you all want, you can stay and listen to my answer for others' question, or you can leave if you all want. Any questions? I said something else, Murshi. You asked something else. I can't remember exactly which one you asked for. On 13th only I joined the class. I don't have it used till now. From when can I get it? It's from who? If you joined on 13th, you should have got the tunes by now. I'll give you know the Master Maths hotline number, right? 077754001. This is a number that's handling my tute as well. What's up to this number saying you didn't get the ICT tutes yet? Uh, when will you get kids? Just drop message, they'll let you know. Yes, freedom. I think next week theory class is also we studied today. No, I didn't teach you still cell spacing, cell padding, cells what do you call the call span, row span. There's more. You all today saw a sneak peek of next week's theory class. That's true. What are the tags which don't have closing tags? In your syllabus, BR tag, image tag. I think HR tag is not there in your syllabus, but it's there in past papers. In your syllabus, these are the three tags. In Pascal programs, I didn't get the part functions and procedure things. Don't spend your time studying that because that is never tested in exams. If you really want to know that, ask that question in next week's end of recap class, not end of theory class. After the end of the recap class, ask me because after theory class, there is no much gap for the recap class. So that's time waste there. After the recap class, ask, I'll tell you. Don't study that, it's waste of time. You don't get exams questions. I can tell now also, but now it's not worth that explanation. You knowing that answer now is not going to give you even 1% of knowledge. It's just going to be the waste of knowledge in your head. So yeah. Can you revise spreadsheet data type? In spreadsheet, we don't call them as data types. In spreadsheet, we call them as number formats. Like for example, the values we have is there 86 is there, right? This 86 could be in different formats. Like for example, the normal one is called general or automatic. So these are different number formats, percentage, and then currency, date, time. You don't get questions regarding this. The only thing you might get is regarding percentage. You don't get questions asking you what is the data type. The only question which would come is where they might ask you how to change it. Like they'll ask you how to change from what do you call how to add the currency symbol in front killer. So if they ask how do you add the currency symbol, then you would use a number format tool. There is a question we'll be discussing that we have where we started spreadsheet in the recap class, no? So there is a question that has that. So in that question, I'll show you. That's the only place where number format is used. So in spreadsheet, we don't call them as data types, we call them as number formats. So you get questions asking how do you change number formats? Like how do you add this dollar symbol in front? All the stuffs. Got it, Hannah? Um, I asked Nia, I know hotline, but they said it's already in the website, but I don't see any. Not PDF, man. You can get the PDF as well. That's a different story. PDF I'm sharing in the group. What do you call the printed tute? You should get it, man. Ask them the printed tute. Zainab, what do you mean? SDLC. Wait, I'll explain SDLC. Wait, more. I'm checking one by one. I asked, but no reply for that question. Um, Zainab, you WhatsApp me as well regarding your dude, right? I'll drop a message to Mustan. Wait, give me a moment. No. Did you dispatch Zainab in Fars? Hey Zainab, where do you live? Sometimes depending on location, there could be difference as well. Hold on now. Hey, then you should have got the dude. No. Did you select your gift in the website? And you said you person, then you will not be coming under that category. I'll check. Okay, SDLC. Let me answer your SDLC question. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, SDLC. Sevangal National School decided to create a computer-based school management system instead of the manual system they have. And they're asking you name the two phase 2 and 4 and above. So normally if you take SDLC, how many phases are there in SDLC? Hmm? How many phases are there in SDLC? Correct. There are six phases. First is identifying requirement. Second is planning or else designing phase. You can call it the designing phase or you can call it planning phase as well. Third is coding. What is the fourth phase? Perfect. The fourth phase we call as testing and debugging. So the answer for the first question is number two is designing, number four is testing and debugging, right? So that's the answer there. And the remaining ones are the remaining phases, like remaining steps in SDLC, right? If you have any questions, ask. That's a basic. The procedure that the SDLC team will follow is given below. Match the procedure A to E with the SDLC phases 1 to 6. Okay, let's do together. So I'll be reading the whole statement and then you all tell me, is that coming under 1, 2, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6? Okay. The first one. Studying about the physical resources, that is number of computers, printers, scanners, computer network in the school. Okay, before you start developing the system, you're going to go and study like what are the things they have. Correct. That's basically identifying. Actually, that comes under one of the feasibility study. So normally we do feasibility. It comes under technical feasibility. Sorry, operational feasibility. That comes. It comes in between one and two. That's not there in the syllabus actually. But okay, we'll take it as one. But this comes correctly to be precise. This comes under something called feasibility study. This comes mostly it'll come after one, but before two. It's more suitable for two actually. I'll let you all know if there's any change, but I'll just put that for one. But that comes under thing called feasibility study. Yeah? Yes, technically is we ask for Marcel, but they can we do. Operational is we see what we do, can they use? Software part, which include competency level and extracurricular activities of the student, is handed over to the school development team to test. That is what. There are two sections they're going to give to test it seems. Obviously, yeah, the word question still has answer. It's four. They're giving for testing. Developing the whole system using C++ and Java. C++ and Java, they are two programming language. Huh? These two are two programming language. So developing the system, that comes under which phase? Correct. That comes under implementation or else the coding phase. Discussing with the principal, vice principal, and other staff members to gather information. That comes under talking with the school people to get information about your system. It comes on an interview, number one. Okay. Testing each part of the system where the expected output will be get by giving relevant inputs. That's again coming in the testing and debugging phase. That's going to come under number 4. Next, for each of the following labels A to D, identify the relevant terms from the list of terms blah 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 and write down the relevant term number against each relevant label. For each of the activities labeled A to D below, identify the relevant terms from the list of terms 1 to 6. Okay. For C, I thought the same answer. For either coding or implement, what's the difference? Same thing. C++ and Java, they are two programming language. Like Pascal, right? Pascal, just like HTML is not a programming language, but just like Pascal you all learned in the first lesson, C++ and Java, they are two different programming languages. Got it? Like if you have heard about Python, all those stuffs like that, this is also programming language. Right. So 1 to 6. After completing the one stage of the bank management system which Muhammad is developing, he begins the next stage. Okay. After completing the one stage of the bank management system which Muhammad is developing, he begins the next stage. So next stage after development. Uh, okay, so he has finished one part of the bank management system. He's going for the next part in the bank management. So it's probably he's talking about coding, right? Like he's coding the system. So while coding the system, he has finished that part for the bank management, and he's going for the next stage. They could ask because that's there in the first lesson of grade level. Then what are they asking? They are asking basically each of these activities are relevant to which phase. Wait, there's no connection of the second one. Online renewal of vehicle license, which first started in Kurnagal district, is expanded other district. There is connection. There is connection. There is connection. The first one, after completing the one stage of the bank management system, which Muhammad is developing, he begins the next stage. Here we are talking about deployment. Sorry, my bad. We know what you call creating websites. You could create in different patterns. Okay, so yeah. Sorry. They are asking from these labels. Okay, my bad. From these terms 1 to 6. Sorry. So after completing one stage of the bank management system, which Mohammed is developing, he begins the next stage. So without building the full system together, you're going to first of all build one portion. Once you're done with the stage 1, after that only you're going to go for the stage 2. So this could be two possible answer. If you're going to talk about the what do you call development model, what kind of model do you do this? Is it done in the waterfall model like this or iterative increment model like this? Correct. Sorry, not waterfall model. Iterative increment model. Iterative increment model is where you're going stage by stage, phase by phase. Like I said, you're not building WhatsApp. You first of all build the chat section. Once you're done with the chat section, you go for status. Then you go for the call, right? So if you're talking about the models, this is representing the iterative increment model. If you're talking about deployment, in terms of deployment, this looks like phased deployment. You're publishing one phase and then going for the next phase. But here we are not talking about the deployment part. Like we are not telling that we are going to release it to the public. No, we're talking about the coding perspective. So because we are talking about the coding perspective, A is more suitable for iterative incremental model. Okay. And they are not given phase deployment answer as well. They are given. But again, we're not talking about publishing. In the second question, they have said the online renewal of vehicle which is first time in Kurnagal district is expanded for other districts as well. Kind of more this. Now, initially, we are given the application only for Kurunegala. And now we are going to give for other people as well. Initially, we gave only for small people. Now we're going to start giving for others as well. That is what? Perfect. That's a pilot deployment. So that's three. The system analysts get information about the present system by getting answers for some question which is written on A4 papers. That's what? Yes, that's called questionnaires. Five. This is done in the stage one. That is basically phase one, sorry, which is basically the identifying requirements phase. The system developer uses the knowledge gained in the earlier iterations to develop the system. That is, the system developer uses knowledge gained in the early iterations. It's relevant to one. Okay. In the first question, I have a mixed opinion. When you say stage, okay, most of the word called stage represents the idea called phase. So like first stage, second stage, third stage. So first stage is talking about the identifying requirements. Second stage is talking about the designing. Third phase is talking about the what do you call the testing. No. Now he is in the first question. They're saying after completing the one stage of the bank management system, which is Mohammed is developing. So once the what do you call development stage is completed, he's going to begin the next stage. So once the one stage is completed, if you're going to go and start the next stage, that means here I think they're talking about completed entirely. In one phase, again, stage is representing the idea of phase. Okay. So we have six phases of SDLs, right? After you finish one phase completely, if you're going to start the second phase, that's talking about what type of development model. Let's talk about the waterfall model. So technically, the fourth one is first one is talking about fourth. A could be 6, D could be 1. D is 1, correct? A could be 6, no. Because if A is going to be 6, then they have to talk about this one's about release in application. If they're told the idea has to be given about release in application. Here they're not talking about releasing. They are still talking about building the application. So because they are still talking about building the application, for the A, 4 is more suitable. Because they're saying they're going to complete one stage, and after one stage is completed, only he's going to start the next stage. So that idea is represented in the waterfall model. That's the answer. What do you mean by data? Database. The same question we did. That's what we did: the primary key, foreign key. What are the records that will be updated? Database relationships. That's very rare. But query, like those basic stuffs. Any other questions, anyone? Anyone having any questions? Would you ever roughly go through the SDLC beginning to ending just like we did in spreadsheets? Um, Final seminar. In the final seminar, because that's a small cut. There's nothing big in SDLC to go through that because we have done. If you just go through the SDLC tutor itself, that's more than enough. Because we completed the whole SDLC lesson in 2 weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks. There's nothing big in SDLC. What is the difference between the interpreter and the compiler? I completely forgot. Sorry, I forgot it. Interpreter, what you call translates line by line the code. Compiler, it is translate everything at once. That's the difference. Both of them are language translators. Compiler, it will convert the whole code at once to machine language. Interpreter, it will convert line by line. Got it? Any other questions, anyone? Okay, so some of you have your exams these days going on. If you'll have any doubts, WhatsApp them to my number, okay, before exam, and I'll help you all clarify them. I might sometimes get delayed in replying, but ASAP I'll reply. Anyways, with that, let's wind up. And sorry for dragging, but me not dragging is not usual. It's very usual. Anyways, have a nice day. Bye bye, and all the best for your exam.